Washington. And Martin Stadium, as you might expect, is alive for this one. It's another sellout crowd, a hungry crowd, and a tough place for a visiting team to play. It's Kyocera College football Saturday, in this case Saturday night, as the Stanford Cardinal making a house call on the hometown Washington State Cougars. And hello again, everybody. I'm Barry Tompkins. You know this guy. He's Petros Papadakis. And Petros, these are both teams that I think could conceivably be undefeated. Each is 3 up and 2 down. Both teams still kind of learning how to close the deal.
Both are very young. Both these teams, Barry, have a lot of promise here in the Pac-10. Both are special and well coached, but they still have a little bit of trouble closing games down. Lastly, Wazoo had trouble versus Oregon, and Stanford has had trouble in the second half all year versus Notre Dame and USC.
When Trent Edwards came to Stanford as a quarterback, he was highly recruited, and all of a sudden, as a sophomore, he is starting to realize all that potential.
This has become a very quarterback-friendly offense, but quarterback-friendly, and that Trent Edwards has a lot of responsibility. He's got a lot of checks, he's got a lot of balances, he's got a lot of calls and changes that he has to make. Here's a strong kid that makes good decisions. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the Pac-10.
And he's got guys to throw to pretty good.
Oh, he sure does. Evan Moore is probably the biggest matchup problem in the Pac-10 at 6'7". He's also a basketball player. He makes acrobatic catches. He runs a fade route beautifully. He plays with a lot of emotion. This guy is probably, by next year, going to be the best receiver in the Pac-10.
Washington State has always been a big play kind of team, but you know, they lost all their wide receivers, and you thought, what are they going to do for big plays this year? Well, they found somebody.
Yeah, they found a guy in Jason Hill now. They had him last year as a special team zealot. He was out there blocking kicks and making tackles. This year, he's become a home run hitter. Every time he catches a ball, it seems like he scores a touchdown. He's got 8 this year. That puts him up there with the leaders in the nation. He's had multiple touchdowns in every Pac-10 game he's played this year. I can't wait to watch.
8 touchdowns in his last 11 catches. You have an idea this is going to be an evening of big plays, both on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball. These are 2 teams that are going to be terrific next year, and you know what? They're not bad this year. We're coming back.
FSN, where Northwest fans come first.
Approaching kickoff of our Pac-10 game of the week. Watch for Stanford's J.R. Lemon. He's run for nearly 300 yards and 5 touchdowns in his last 3 games. Stanford at Washington State is coming up. Welcome inside our college football studios right here in Los Angeles alongside the Hall of Famers Kellen Winslow and Billy Ray Smith. I'm Mike Goldberg. Let's get you caught up around the Pac-10, the big one. 5-0 ASU, 5-0 USC, number 1 against number 15 from the Coliseum. How about a little trickery, Kellen?
The most versatile player in college football, Reggie Bush. He does it all. Even throws the ball on the run, wide open for the touchdown.
Dwayne Jarrett, 3 touchdowns on the day. Matt Leinart, he may be your front runner for the Heisman again.
A lot of time for SC to throw that football. Offensive line did a great job for Matt Leinart all day.
USC rolls. Meanwhile, the Golden Bears of Cal have opened up a 14-point lead now at home, trying to rebound from their loss a week ago at the Coliseum. They lead UCLA 35-21. Now, speaking of Cal, let's go on the Wayback Machine, boys. 1982. Remember the play?
You know, I thought the band would have done a better job with tackling. We've got to have Stanford track tackling drills. This is an outstanding play. The percussion session, you know, they're big people.
An absolute embarrassment.
Hey, deja vu all over again, boys. Last night, high school football, Westlake High at Agora. 4.2 seconds left. The big matchup in the state of California. Wait a second. Game's over.
Oh, no, it's not. And you got to give credit to the Westlake coach for drawing this up.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Just like they did in 1982. Where is he? Who is he? Jeff Rappaport, Kellen.
Look at the guy at the 5-yard line.
Westlake wins 30-27. Now, the other team from that play, Stanford, we have them tonight against Washington State.
Oh, that's the tie-in.
It's a segue.
Okay,
see, it's a segue.
Yeah, all right.
Stanford very tough earlier this year against USC, and a tough loss last week for Washington State. They had command against Oregon and let it get away.
Kellen Clemens.
We're telling stories.
You know, 3 touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns, 437 yards passing. Washington State is a young football team. They're struggling on defense, and also, BR, they have less than 100 yards rushing per per game. They've got to find some balance and get that running game going.
You talk about the youth. We're talking about 9 sophomores and freshmen starting in the starting 22 for Washington State. The one big advantage, you go to Pullman, you got to understand this. Stanford, they go to the sticks and then about an hour outside the sticks to get to Pullman. It is a long road trip, and it's not a very friendly environment.
He's having collegiate flashbacks right now of Arkansas. We'll see you at the break on the College Football Saturday halftime report. Time for our Kyocera Pac-10 game of the week. They're already dressed up in Pullman. Barry Tompkins, Petros Papadakis. Enjoy the first half, everybody. Time for some Pac-10 football.
We welcome you back to Martin Stadium here in Pullman, Washington. Barry Tompkins, Petros Papadakis, and we are just about set to go. And here come the hometown Cougars. Always been great fans. I know you were telling me when you played up here, P, tough place to play.
They're tough on you, and they'll scream at you the whole time while you're standing on the sideline. They know who the guys are that just play on the special teams, and they make fun of you.
Here are the Cougs. Both these teams, as we said earlier, easily could be undefeated at this point. They've both been in every game they've played. And now they're in a game against each other where one of them is going to go home weeping.
You know, we talked about it. It's such an intangible thing. It's such a delicate thing, such a fragile thing to win at the end of a football game. These guys are young. They're talented. They fight hard the whole game, but when it gets down to the fourth quarter, they've had a tough time winning. Versus Colorado, they had a tough time. And then last week versus Oregon in a heartbreaking overtime game where the Washington State defense just did not play like themselves.
And here are the abusees. The Stanford Cardinal just about set to come out. Also, it's very bizarre. You see that tunnel behind him there? It's like steel, that tunnel, and sounds bang around in there. It's very odd.
Very science fiction, Star Wars-esque coming down that steel tunnel.
And here come the Cardinal, of course, to a chorus of boos. But this Cardinal football team feeling pretty good about itself right now. I mean, they handled USC at least for 30 minutes in that game. Forgot to show up for the second 30 minutes.
Well, this is a team that plays with a lot of attitude. Stanford is a team that plays with a chip on its shoulder, especially defensively. Buddy Teven's guys are angry out there defensively. They play hard, they play fast, they want to punch you in the mouth every time that you snap that football. And that's what this game is really about. This game is about who is going to get that first shot, who is going to get that first jab, who is going to draw first blood. I expect a very fast and physical ball game.
Bill Doba, of course, is taking over the reins here at Washington State from Mike Price. A real continuity of coaching, not only in terms of personalities, but in terms of styles, in terms of assistant coaches. There's been great consistency here. And as the Stanford coach has said about this team, you don't win 30 games in 3 years by accident.
No, and Bill Doba has really carried on that tradition started here by Mike Price. He has kept that family, small-town kind of feel here in Washington State, and that's a great thing. You know, meeting with coaches, you hear all kinds of different things calling games, but he's always straightforward. He always tells the truth, and that's how he gets kids to come up here and play. He tells the truth, and he's straightforward, and they love each other up here.
Now, Washington State's going to get the football first as Stanford won the toss. They deferred. That's the story, and when we come back, the opening kickoff of what I think will be an excellent football game between Stanford and Washington State. We welcome you back. The Cougs will get it first here. Stanford, as we said, won the toss and deferred, which has become the popular thing to do in college football.
Last week you said it was popular when you receive.
Did I say that? I've always been wishy-washy, you know that.
One way
I flip-flop.
You can see the philosophy going both ways. You know, when it comes out to the second half every time, you wish you would have deferred if you're not getting the ball.
So Scory will kick it off for Stanford. The deep man for the Cougs, Jerome Harrison and Tyrone Brackenridge. It is Brackenridge to the near side, to the left of your screen, and Harrison on the far side. As you said, I think this game is going to come down to maybe not who throws the first punch, but who gets the first knockdown. Scory drives this one. No return of this. He's jacked up. Let's take a look at the lineups brought to you by Kyocera. First for the home team, the Washington State Cougars, Josh Swager, who has been very effective in the last 3 games. 9 touchdown passes, as you see. Comes out of Youngstown, Ohio. You live there, you got to be tough. Offensive line, Chris Jordan, or rather, I beg your pardon, the backs and receivers, Jason Hill, we talked about him. Troy Benneman is going to give it a go today, even though he's not 100%. And here is the offensive line. Sam Lightbody, anything but. Swager on first down. Play fake, going to throw. Little hitch route that time, incomplete, intended for Jason Hill. That was that quick screen, actually. Let's take a look at the Kyocera lineups defensively for the Stanford Cardinal. And the Cardinal will get after you. John Alston really, we're calling him a defensive end, but really they play a 3-4. He's really a linebacker, and he will rush the passer. Jenkins also can get to the quarterback. Solid at the linebacker position. Jared Newberry, coaching staff says the leader of this team. And experience in the secondary, especially at the corner. Second down. This is Bruin. And Bruin trying to get outside, does, and he gets to about the 23-yard line. Picked up about 3. It'll be 3rd and 7.
And we can already see the hitting out there. This game is played fast on this field turf in Pullman. These guys get running and they get hitting. There's going to be a lot of chin straps and a lot of plastic flying in this game.
So 3rd down and 7 now. Stanford coming with 6 defensive backs here. Out of the gun. Swager straight back. They pick the blitz up. The pass is caught this time by Bumpus, and Bumpus still on his feet. Cuts it inside at the 45 and a first down for the Cougars. Stanley Wilson on the stop. Cardinal coming with a blitz. It was picked up nicely by the Cougars. It was Jared Newberry who was coming hard.
And you watch, they bring about 5 guys in the protection. One guy's not picked up. That guy's on Swager, but he's able to get the ball out to true freshman Michael Bump City Bumpus out of Culver City. And you know what? They really like this guy. He's just now getting his starting position solidified. He's going to be a good receiver here.
Yeah, starting for the first time tonight. Now we got whistles blowing, and
Stanford University, timeout number 1.
Stanford University, timeout number 1. I'm sorry, I was going to say Leland Stanford University. Leland Stanford Jr. They're coming back. College Football Saturday on FSN is presented by Kyocera, the new value Frontier. By the one and only Dockers. Dockers Pro Style, shirts and pants that do it all. By Napa Auto Care Centers. Napa, get the good stuff. And by DirecTV. Feel the joy. Are you feeling it?
Oh, I'm feeling it.
Cougars with the ball at the 45-yard line on the first down. Another quick toss to Hill. Hill cuts it inside, still on his feet. Close to a first down. He might have gotten it at the 45-yard line of the Cardinal. Those of you who were watching the Oklahoma State-Texas A&M game, there is your final score. And the Aggies jumping up while still going on. The Aggies, though, playing great against Oklahoma State. The Aggies were undefeated, or the Oklahoma State was undefeated.
Cowboys can run the ball.
Aggies have gotten things turned around very well since that opening weekend loss. I get a measurement for this first down. Might be a little short. And it is. Gain of 9, though, for Swager as he hooked up for the second time tonight with Jason Hill. Swager a sophomore, Hill a sophomore. We mentioned earlier these two teams are the 2 youngest teams in the Pac-10 Conference. And while I think they're both pretty good teams right now, next year I think they both are capable of being a monster in this conference.
And Swager has been here for a little while. He's a sophomore, first year starting full-time. He's really starting to get a feel for it, and they like him a lot. He's battled some injuries. He's got an ankle problem and a knee problem, but he's a tough kid, and they really do like him a lot. Doba loves this kid as his quarterback.
There's a trips right. Quick toss this time to Bumpus, and makes the catch and goes down immediately. So he actually lost yardage on the play. Complete pass for -2.
And I'm not sure I like that call very much. It's 2nd and inches. The crowd is packed in here into Martin Stadium. These people want to see a first down. And they got a little cute, tried to run a bubble screen. That ball's got to be right on the money for Bumpus. He's a freshman. He's got to have that ball 1 foot in front of the numbers on a bubble screen. Otherwise, he's going to fall down. He's not going to be able to catch it, and he's not going to get his momentum going forward to get that first down. Now you lost yardage.
They go with 2 tight ends, a fullback, Brandon Oswego Stark in. The tailback is Broom. Play fake, look out! Swagger has to ground it. I cannot believe that is not intentional grounding. And now the flag comes in about 10 minutes after the play.
Must have heard you.
I mean, there was nobody in the area.
And they expected John Alston, watch him, number 37, to bite on this play fake just a little bit, but he runs right by Brune. This is a guy that runs a 4.4, Barry. This guy comes flying at Swagger.
Yeah, this Stanford defense is not like Stanford defenses that you might remember. I mean, people used to talk about Stanford defenses being maybe a little bit soft, maybe not quite in your grill as much as some of these other defenses. Not this one.
Oh, this one's in your grill. This one's in your grill like Superfly's Cadillac. I mean, they are in your grill. I mean, these guys are real and they fight hard.
Best punter in the Pac-10 Conference, about to punt it away, Kyle Bassler. He had an 89-yarder earlier this year. This one hot. Morrell picks it up. Dangerous pickup by Morrell, and he stopped immediately at the 12-yard line. So that's where the Cardinal will begin things for the first time. Let's take a look at the Kyocera lineups. First of all, for the Stanford Cardinal, we talked a little bit about Trent Edwards, top recruit, had a redshirt year, and is just now starting to feel comfortable with this offense and doing it very well this year. Backs and receivers, J.R. Lemon had the big run and a big game against USC. Boniface, the fullback. And we talked about the young but talented receivers. On the offensive line, they're very young, but at the same time, they have been very effective. Edwards gives the Lemon on first down. Lemon tries to cut it back and only got a yard or 2. Defensively for the hometown Washington State Cougars, they're very active, as Cougar defenses always are. Aaron Johnson at the tackle spot, Steve Cook alongside, both able to contain the run and put pressure on the quarterback. You know, we talk a lot about Will Durting, but they say that Scott Davis is playing every bit as good as Durting this year. Always strong on the corners. It's a hallmark of Washington State defenses. Short drop this time. Edwards will throws underneath, and the catch is made by Bradford and drops it. Trent Edwards, a sophomore out of Los Gatos. That's right down near the Stanford campus, and highly recruited, as we said earlier. Everybody in the Pac-10 Conference was after him. Had Chris Lewis kind of looking over his shoulder last year. Didn't really feel real comfortable with the offense this year. He knows it's his. Different guy.
Nobody's looming over him now, and for a Stanford quarterback, you expect him to be smart, but this guy's also smooth and consistent. He is Buddy Teven's guy.
Third down now and long. Edwards with time, airs it out, going for Bradford, can't catch up with it at the 40-yard line, and the Cardinal will give it back to the Cougars. Will Durting defending.
And even though that was an incomplete pass, Edward went for a deeper ball. He had a man open. He had Alex Smith, his tight end, who's a very good senior tight end, open as there's a man down on the field.
One of the Stanford Cardinal looks like an interior lineman, and I believe it's Brian Head, the center. Never like to lose the center. He's a key player, isn't he?
Especially a guy like Brian Head, 6'4", 295 junior. And even though he's just a junior, he's the old man on this Stanford offensive line, and he's really the emotional leader. We see him limping off a little bit.
But the good news is he is able to put weight on that left foot.
And there he gets his gait going.
Little hitch in his giddy up, but not bad. Does not look real serious. And so, on to do the punting for Stanford, J.O. DiVigio. He had a tough time at Notre Dame. Bumpus, the deep man, he had a 52-yard return against Oregon for a touchdown last week. And they come after this one. And a line drive kick. Bumpus may have a chance here. Lets it hit in front of him. That might lose his chance. He's at the 40. Get a little gap. Midfield. Look out now. He's the 40 again. Trying to get to the outside at the 30. to the 20-yard line and dragged down at about the 18-yard line. Kevin Schimmelman saving tackle. What a return.
Here's a guy that Bumpus, you look at him and you say, he's going to be a star here at Washington State. Now, to put a freshman back there, a true freshman, to return punts, you have to have a lot of courage, and you also have to have a lot of faith in the guy as a coach. You see him take the ball on a bounce and just take it directly up the field, breaking about 3 tackles, takes it down the sideline. What a run by the young man out of Culver City. Here's a guy that originally committed to USC out of high school, played a little quarterback at Culver City along with wide receiver.
So the first blow of the ball game is struck by the Cougars on special teams. Swagger to throw, pump fake. Now he looks deep, throws underneath once more for Harrison. Harrison slips by the first man but steps out of bounds as he gets inside the 15-yard line to about the 14. Big gain of about 5 yards to Jerome Harrison.
And Washington State now with a short field to work with. Look for them to spread the ball around the field, just kind of dink and dunk, use their short passing game to get in the end zone. They don't have to establish anything. That's why a short field hurts you so much if you're the Stanford defense. You don't get to run your zone blitz. You don't get to run your games. Now you just have to hold on for dear life and hope that you'll just give up a field goal.
Give him 4 yards at 2nd and 6. They go in the offset eye this time with Harrison the tailback. In motion comes Jordan. Give is to Harrison. Harrison got a little gap, gets the 10-yard line. Picked up about 3. John Alston on the stop for Stanford. Alston very active.
Very active and a punishing hitter, Barry. This is a guy that really brings it to people. You look at Harrison, he's really the closest thing they have to a big play tailback. 188 yards this season on 37 carries. His biggest game of the year last week versus Oregon with 117 yards and 1 touchdown. They like him because he's got a little wiggle and he does have home run hitting speed.
3rd down, a long 2 here for the Cougs. Good play early in this game. Play fake. Swagger going to throw in trouble again. He has to throw underneath it. Had to throw a little bit quicker than he wanted to, intended for Jed Collins. But again, coming hard was Lee Torrance.
And it's hard to get those movement plays going. We've seen it twice now with the Stanford defense. They don't fall for fakes, and they're so fast. They run to the ball so quickly and so aggressively. There's not a lot of time for Swagger to get a good throw. That time, that throw was behind the fullback Collins.
So a field goal try upcoming for Lauren Langley. He'll hit this at the 17-yard line, 27-yard effort. There's the snap, placed down, and it is good. So the first points of the ballgame put on the board by Lauren Langley, a 27-yard field goal, and the Cougars have taken the lead 3-0 with 10 minutes, 39 seconds remaining to be played here in the first quarter. Stanford will have it once again on the kickoff when we come back. Cougars draw first blood, 3-0 on a 27-yard field goal. We've not yet played 5 minutes of this football game. Let's take a look at the scoring drive. 3 plays, 8 yards. Not really a drive, was it? Took 54 seconds, set up by the 48-yard punt return by Bumpus.
And a disappointment to the home crowd a little bit. They wanted to see a touchdown there. They wanted to see their Cougs hit the end zone, and a victory for the Stanford defense.
Yeah, I think so. Here's the kickoff, and it's headed toward McCutcheon in the end zone. He won't bring this out. He'll watch it roll out of the end zone, and we go to our studios now for a Kyocera game break. Here's Mike Goldberg. Mike?
Well, Barry, thank you very much. Coming off their loss to number 1 USC, number 8 Cal back at home, hosting 2-0 UCLA. Aaron Rodgers to Jeff MacArthur. They did this 2 times. Rodgers throws 4 touchdowns on the night. In fact, he threw a few more. 45-28 under 2 minutes to go. UCLA will try to rebound next week against Arizona State, who lost today. Guys.
I'll say Arizona State lost today. Yeah. USC just didn't let them up.
It was a bit of a surprise. I thought their defense would play a lot better versus the Trojans, but the Trojan offense going on all cylinders now.
Straight back to pass on first down to Edwards. Protection broke down a little bit. Forced Edwards to throw the ball short. Bruce was coming.
Cristo Bruce out of Renton, Washington. This guy was a quarterback in high school at Liberty High. Let's see him coming here with the pressure. And I don't know a lot of quarterbacks that could pressure like that, but he's a big, tall, athletic guy, and just decided to put him at defensive end one day, and he was pretty good at hunting down that quarterback.
Those are the kind of guys that get up here at Washington State. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Out of the gun on 2nd and 10. Edwards, his coach would say, manages the game very well. Checking off here. Cougars show blitz, and I think it's going to go against Stanford. I think they left a little prematurely. It was Jeff Edwards. Incidentally, Brian Head, who was injured on that last offensive play for Stanford.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Brian Head has not come back into the ball game.
Yeah, we talked about Will Durding. Let's look at number 70 here, the right tackle. There he is over here. And watch Durding coming on the blitz. See, now Durding is known, Barry, as one of the smartest and best blitzers in the Pac-10. When you see him coming, he times them up so well. You might think you have the snap count off and just stand up, and you saw Stanford get a little jumpy there. I'd get jumpy, too, if I saw Durding coming in my gap.
He's tough. Linebackers for Washington State, they've had a history of outstanding linebacker, overachieving kinds of guys. You know, the kind of guys that they don't necessarily look good in the photos, but they can play. There's a bad snap. Edwards has to retreat to his own end zone. Picks it up and now throws it away. Very smart to get outside the tackle box before he threw that football.
You talked about Edwards' ability to manage the football game, to make decisions on the fly, the best decisions for Buddy Stevens and that offense. That happens every once in a while early in a game, especially when you have a new center in the game. Brewster just tosses it right over Edwards' head. He had his hands on it, but inexcusable. You can't have a snap that high. He runs back, waits to pick it up, because sometimes guys will end up booting that ball, and gets rid of it and takes a little bit of a shot. Very smart play, maybe the play of the game so far by Edwards.
Absolutely. So now, 3rd and 15. Both defenses doing the job so far. Cougars show blitz, then back out of it. Play fake. Edwards now has time, rolls away from pressure. Now he throws over the middle, caught this time by McCullum, and that's going to be enough for a 1st down for Stanford. What a big play.
And here you see the patience and the ability of Edwards. This guy is a pro quarterback style. He rolls out, relaxes, he knows where the line of scrimmage is, throttles his body down. There you see him. He starts moving the pocket a little bit when he doesn't see anybody open, throttles the body down. He is on the same page with Justin McCullum and hits him over the middle. That is textbook, beautiful play by Edwards.
1st down just short of the 35-yard line, out of the I formation. 2 tight ends for Stanford, and they gave us to Lemon. Lemon looking for someplace to go, and gets a little something out of nothing. In fact, he got 5 yards out of where there wasn't very much.
They're starting to like this about J.R. Lemon. Here's a guy that is starting to be able to find the holes. Now, Barry, there's not always a hole there. When you're a tailback and you take the ball, sometimes you just see a bunch of stalemates and everybody's kind of standing up on the line of scrimmage and there's nowhere to go. Now, as a back, your original thought in your mind is just to take it outside and run it to the sideline like you did in high school, but instead he's getting behind people and pushing piles.
Picked up 5 on that, actually a little bit more than 5. 2nd down. Quick toss this time, and a well-thrown ball to McCullum, and McCullum picks up the 1st down. That's exactly what you were talking about before, Pete, getting the ball out in front.
You got to get the ball out in front on a bubble screen, and you know, that's a ball that's a lot harder to throw for a quarterback than it really seems. It looks like a short pass. It looks like kind of a gimme completion for most quarterbacks, but it's not. It's something that you have to work on with repetition over and over again in practice, and you have to know the speed and ability of all your different guys. And Edwards knows the ability of McCullum just to come around there and pick the 1st down up. All of this possible. Stanford getting a little momentum on this drive because of the smart play Edwards made on the bad snap.
So a 1st down at the 45-yard line. There's an update on the score between Texas A&M and Oak State. And there's a busted play. All the way back to the 40-yard line. And again, Edwards does the smart thing. Didn't try to get fancy, didn't try to create. Just lived to play another day.
Edwards looked like he went the wrong way on this one. Somebody did. And you know what? It was the back. It was Lemon who went the wrong way. Edwards could not improvise because he needs that movement to get him moving. And just a busted movement play. Sometimes as a tailback, you hear that play in the huddle, and if you know you're not getting the ball, you have a tendency just to kind of dismiss everything and know what you're going to do on that play. Lemon went the wrong way, Barry.
2nd and 15 now. And again, Cougs showing blitz. Jumping in and out of the gaps. They back out of the blitz, play fake. Edwards will throw, look out. Steps up, throws, caught by Moore at the 40-yard line. Now that's the way you play throw and catch.
Moore got his hands out in front, and this is why this guy is going to be one of the best receivers, if not in the Pac-10, the entire country. I mean, this guy has got a lot of good things going for him. Now, you watch Edwards back up, and he gets a lot of pressure coming from Braidwood. These guys run on the Washington State defense, and he can throw on the run, Edwards can. Moore catches the ball with his hands, which you want a big, tall body guy like that to do. Just takes it down, avoids the hit. He could have stayed up and run for a while there.
Tough throw to make, too, going one way and throwing across his body. Play fake again. Edwards throws underneath this time for the tight end Smith. Smith gets it going in the right direction, picks up 5 more.
Now there's the movement game that they wanted to get going. Alex Smith, the tight end, the senior, really one of the only seniors on this entire Stanford team. A very talented tight end. It's his 3rd year starting, 24 catches and 281 yards so far with a touchdown. They love this guy. He's a huge weapon for the Stanford offense.
It's in the genes. His dad, Edward, played a little bit with the Denver Broncos. Slot left, 3 wide outs on 2nd and 5. Stanford giving Wazoo a lot of different looks. Here's a blitz off the edge, and they give us to Lemon, and Lemon going right where the blitzer came from. Picked up about 3.
And that's what you want. They had a run blitz on. That blitz was designed to stop the run. Lemon gets in there. He's starting to find the right holes and be able to push that pile and go forward for a few yards. Scott Davis, a guy who's racked up a lot of tackles for Washington State, in on the stop. But Lemon is a big physical back, and we saw him run for 82 yards versus USC. He can also pick those legs up and put him down.
A little confusion of personnel at the Stanford huddle. Now they get it straightened out. They come to the line of scrimmage. Quick count. Edwards rolls, throws. McCollum makes the catch. That'll be another Stanford first down. Wally Dada makes the stop. I like that name. Wally Dada. Lyric. And I don't want to hear any "Who's your Dada" jokes.
No, I wasn't gonna. See, you know, that's what I was thinking about saying.
Let it go because it was too trite and left it to me, right?
Nothing I couldn't say that wasn't cliche in that situation. Only there's a clothing line that's very popular. Maybe it was more popular about 5 years ago called Dada. I never had anything. I wasn't cool enough.
3 tight ends now for the Cardinal. And Lemon juggles the handoff, now gets it going right. Takes it inside the 25 to about the 23-yard line. A pickup of almost 5 yards. Cardinal getting off the ball pretty well here.
You're seeing a back maturing in Lemon. He saw the sideline, and he saw there was a little room to get to the sideline. He also knows he weighs about 225 pounds. He was able to put his foot in the ground and take it right upfield and get a good positive run on first down. Stanford has got it going. With all the passing and the movement and the running, Stanford's offense is working very well right now.
Coaching staff calls Lemon a grinder, and they mean it in a complimentary way. There's Lemon again, and this time nothing doing. Stopped just as he got started by Adam Braidwood.
And Braidwood is all over the field right now. This Washington State defensive line is pretty young, but these guys get around and do a lot of good things. Only one senior starter on the defensive line. That's Steve Cook. Braidwood is a guy who's a junior, a little bit older, very active. These guys like to stay active. They like to run. Not a lot of big, huge guys, but guys that can get off the ball and get after the ball, make moves, swim moves, club and rip moves, and get after people.
3rd down and 5 now for the Cardinals. Slot right, 3 wide out, single setback. Edwards straight back. Going deep for McCollum and almost intercepted. Stepping in front that time was Carl Pema, and he almost had it. Great coverage by the Cougs.
Carl Pema is the closest thing Washington State has to a lockdown corner. He is like the best corner they have on this football team, and that, you know, he's most like Trufant. He's most like the guys of the past that can just step up on people and lock them down. There, he sort of baited Edwards into throwing that ball. The safety was there, but Pema also was there too. Maybe if the safety wasn't there, Pema picks that ball off.
So now a 39-yard field goal try for Michael Scroy, and Scroy wants a timeout. Second timeout that the Cardinal has used here, and we'll take a timeout as well, with 5 minutes, 2 seconds remaining to be played here in the first quarter, and the Cougars leading it 3-0. Oh, Michael Scroy will try to tie things here. 39-yard field goal attempt upcoming. 27-yarder was good by Lauren Langley a few moments ago for Washington State. They hit it at the 29. It's on its way, and it is good, and we are tied at 3. So defense is predominating. 4:57 remaining here in the first quarter, and both defenses have jumped up and made plays when they needed to. Scroy tells the crowd very quietly to quiet down. Here's our FoxSports.com poll. Will #1 SC and #2 Oklahoma meet in the BCS championship game? 67% of you say no. 33% say yes. What do you think?
What about USC versus Cal?
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Oklahoma will have to win or lose a couple games in order for that to happen, and Cal and USC would have to win out.
College Football Saturday returning next week. We'll have a double dip. First, Kansas trying to pull off another upset on second-ranked Oklahoma. That's a tough order. And then Washington trying to shock the #1 ranked USC Trojans. All begins the kickoff show at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific, right here on FSN. So you'll see both Oklahoma and USC.
A lot of people think Auburn might be playing in that Orange Bowl.
Al Borges, a former Pac-10 guy. Was it Oregon? Was it Cal? Was it UCLA? He's the offensive coordinator at Auburn now, and they say he's the difference maker. Here's the kick headed for Breckenridge, and he's not going to bother with this one. Let's take a look at what happened in college football today. In the top 10, most everybody that was supposed to win won, with one notable exception. Purdue losing to Wisconsin in the final 25 seconds. Florida State well in front of Virginia. Now, I thought Virginia might battle them a little bit. Virginia, as you see, was ranked ahead of Florida State, and they are losing by a 29-3 score. So Florida State shutting down Virginia so far.
Didn't you just get the feeling, though, that Wisconsin was going to D Purdue up a little bit?
Well, we talked about that after we saw them against Arizona. I think they're the real deal, and now they got their running back who's going to help them offensively. This is Harrison coming outside, and he got to the corner and picked up about 7.
Harrison made the wrong cut on that run, but he's a guy that's fast enough to make up for that, to take it outside and get on that perimeter. We talked to A.J. Kristoff this morning, the Stanford defensive coordinator, and he worried a little bit about the perimeter. You see Harrison make that cut, and Schimmelman just couldn't get at him. He took a little straight arm to the forehead, almost a first down. Big gain on first down for Washington.
First down yardage, always an important stat. Second down and 2. They gave him 8. And this time, I think one of the Cougs jumped, left a little bit early. Might have been Bobby Bird.
That would make sense because Bobby Bird is a freshman. This is only his 4th straight start. You can't have that. You can't get 8 yards on first down and then lose 5 before you get the ball snapped on second down. Doba's unhappy.
Long discussion here. Still no call by the referee here. It's an inordinately long conversation for what is a relatively simple penalty, but let's see which way it goes.
Prior to the snap, defender
Stanford
into the neutral zone. It's a formation.
Babatunde Oshinowo.
Parties results in a first down.
Well, there's a break for Washington State. Bill Doba says, I'll take that one. We are at Martin Stadium here in Pullman, Washington. Stanford and Washington State. Barry Tompkins, Petros Papadakis telling you about it. We have 4 minutes and 2 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. We're tied at 3. It has been a defensive football game so far. Handoff this time to Chris Broom. Broom gets it ahead for about 4 yards. Both teams have been able to move the football to a certain extent, but both teams have made the defensive plays they've needed to make.
See, the crazy thing here, Barry, is that just looked like a 5-yard run on first down. But for people up here in Washington State that really know football, you see 2 backs in I formation in the game at Washington State. You see them running an isolation play. They've had 1 back since the mid-'80s or even before that. A 2-back system finally being installed here at Washington State by Bill Doba. That's wild to me.
They want to use a little bit more of it. There's a pass intercepted by Torrance right into his hands at the 45-yard line, and I'm not quite sure what Swagger was thinking there.
Yeah, that's a mystery to me. I mean, Swagger backed up. He had everything right in front of him. There was not a lot of pressure. He had Alston coming off the edge and throws it right into the arm of Torrance. Must have been some kind of miscommunication with his receiver. You see that there's very little pressure on him, and the ball comes out. Very strange ball intended for Jason Hill. They've been trying to get him the ball. That time, that was a ball better left unthrown.
Yeah, and it wasn't that Torrance jumped the route. He was just there.
Christmas gift, a little early.
So Stanford takes over at the 44-yard line. First turnover of the ball game. Here's a double pass, and McCollum throwing it downfield for Bradford. He makes the catch to 10, to the 5, and down at the 2-yard line. Stanford set that up with 2 plays earlier where they ran that little screen.
Stanford does a lot of bubble screening, and whenever you do bubble screening, if you have somebody that can throw the ball, and Bradford is a phenomenal athlete, they get him out there on the perimeter. He's able to throw it up there. Bradford wide open. If the ball was a little better thrown by McCollum, that's a touchdown, but a little bit underthrown, and you always got to pop them with that trick play right after a turnover, something to catch them off guard when they're on their heels.
Now you got to look for the fade route, of course. Here's a give to Lemon on first down. They don't need the fade route. Touchdown, Stanford. Well, they took advantage of that in a big hurry.
Now, this is a sold-out stadium, but it's always very, very quiet when you're the opposing team and you're able to score a touchdown. Here comes Lemon. He knows where he's got to go. He puts that ball in one arm. Probably should have both arms on the ball that down close to the goal line, especially when you're running between the tackles. But nevertheless, he's able to push the pile. We're talking about what he does well. He pushes the pile well and scores a touchdown for Stanford.
Scoring the try for point now. It is up, and it is good, and with 2:49 remaining in the first period, Stanford has taken a lead 10-3. We'll be back. So Stanford will kick it away. Scroy will kick off once more to Harrison and Brackenridge, and Scroy's kick is another good one. And this is going to go out of the end zone. Strong-legged kickers on both sides. Watch the blocking up front on this goal line situation.
If there's one thing I know, it's goal line. Now watch Vincent come around. They call this a Charlie block. He's got to get on his horse and push everybody into the end zone. Lemon gets right in behind him. You see him pulling around. Also a fine seal block from Brewer. Lemon just gets behind that big guard and behind that fullback Boniface and takes it right into the end zone. Perfect. Perfectly executed goal line offense.
We're going to kick this over. Stanford, it appears, was offside.
We talk about this every single week when someone goes offside. Everybody on that kickoff team is angry right now.
Well, they'll take the penalty. They're not going to kick it over, and Cougars will start at the 25-yard line. They'll take the 5-yard penalty.
Now everybody on the kickoff team is happy.
Yeah, exactly. You used to hate that, didn't you? You told me.
Well, if there's a penalty and you got to do it over, I mean.
Oh, but I mean just being on that kickoff team in general.
Who said that?
You did. I remember. Here's Harrison. Nothing doing. Harrison cut down nicely.
Football hurts, Barry. And when you have a long time to think about it while you're running down the field, and all you can hear is the clacking of your pads, and you know you're going to have to hit somebody, you know you're very missile-like going into the wedge, and something's going to hurt on you after the play, after the whistle blows. Some part of your body is going to be tingling with pain. No one likes a kickoff team. Only the true weirdos of football.
And there you are. Second 10. Dime defense for California. They come with the blitz, they pick it up, and the pass is incomplete. I just called Stanford, California. That's a cardinal sin, you should pardon the expression. First down line brought to you by Overstock.com. It's all about the O.
A lot of people in the Bay Area talking a lot about California this year, Barry. But you know what? This Stanford team, they got a chip on their shoulder, and they play with a lot of emotion. And you're not used to that.
I've been very impressed so far. Swagger runs out of time, but throws underneath. The catch is made by Hill. He shakes the tackle. 45 midfield, 45 and out of bounds. Talked about him being the big play guy, and there it is.
We talked about Hill being a home run hitter. Here's a guy that just has a knack for breaking free. If it's not over 40 yards, what's the point? This is a guy that does a lot of good things. And I was just about to start talking about Swagger not being on the money, but here you see Hill running a little post pattern. The ball is behind him, but he's able to take on that hit from rushing and take it right down the sideline. This guy just knows how to make big plays. Hard to explain sometimes. Guys can just do that.
High formation this time with a fullback. And it gives to Harrison, and he pops it down to about the 41-yard line. And a 5 on first down. Bergeron and Schimmelman make the tackle. Sounds like a law firm, doesn't it?
I don't know. I've never been sued or sued anybody.
Bergeron, but if you were, wouldn't you call Bergeron and Schimmelman?
I got some Greeks down in Los Angeles that I would deal with. You see Harrison running a little power play there, getting behind the guard. I mean, here's a smaller back, but still gets up in there and gets a positive game for the Cougs.
Second down, they gave him a gain of 4, call it 2nd and 6. Give to Harrison again. This time he is stopped.
Jerome Harrison again with the ball.
Oshinowo and Okwo. It's a Nigerian law firm.
They tried the same stretch play again, trying to work on that left side of the line.
Tackle made by number 96.
But the Stanford defense has improved so much. I mean, they've improved in moving to the line of scrimmage when the ball is snapped. They like to change the math, is what A.J. Kristoff calls it, their defensive coordinator. Look at the points allowed per game, 34, 30, and then this year, 16 points a game. That's all aggression from Stanford.
Here they come again, and they're coming hard, and Swagger steps up, took a real shot as he threw it, and that's just exactly what you were talking about. This time it was David Bergeron who was coming.
Now check out the shot to the head by Bergeron. Both hands on the neck, and he puts the leg up around him as well.
Lucky to get a flag.
Yeah, he is. That was a little bit questionable when you get both hands and try to head clap the guy and then headbutt him as well. But that is the attitude of the Stanford defense this year. These guys are all hitting with their faces, and Swagger is starting to show that he's a little off tonight.
So Marrero, the deep man. And this one by Bosler is going to hit at the 5, take a big hop and go into the end zone. Not a fortunate hop. I thought it was a very good punt, actually, but didn't quite get the action out of it that he wanted. Well, Stanford took advantage of an interception.
There's a ball that just goes straight into the arms of Torrance. Then you get the double pass. Bradford's got to wait on the ball from McCullum, but turns it right down almost to the goal line. And then you have the beautiful goal line offense of Stanford. Lemon getting in behind his guys, especially Vincent with the Charlie block. Stanford's ahead.
Stanford hasn't missed a beat either. Michael Brewer, redshirt freshman, came on for Brian Head, who went out with an injury earlier. And from what I can see so far, doing a pretty good job. Straight back goes Edwards on first down. He has to step up now. He'll run. 20, 25. He's got the whole field and slides in with the first down at the 34-yard line. That's a heads-up play.
Heads-up play by him, and you know what? I saw a little giddy-up in Edwards. He turned up the field and had a little burst of speed, got the first down, and did the right thing in sliding down. You talk about Brewer not missing a beat. Well, he did fire that ball over Edwards' head, but you haven't seen him gone shotgun since. But this Stanford offensive line, I mean, they've really come into the thought that if one guy gets hurt, somebody else has got to come in and do some good things, and that's what they do. There's no excuses anymore on the Stanford football team.
And with that, we come to the end of the first quarter, and it was an entertaining first quarter as we expected it might be. Stanford right now playing solid football on both sides of the ball. It's 10-3 at the end of the first period. Second quarter coming up after this. 10-3 ball game. Stanford leads and has the football as we start the second quarter. Here is the U.S. Bank Pac-10 Conference Players of the Week. Aaron Rodgers, all he did was complete 23 in a row against the best team in the country. Mike Patterson of USC, outstanding defensive tackle. You see his numbers. And Ryan Killeen did not allow a run back of a kickoff. That's big time. In fact, it was a big-time football game.
When all the players of the week for the Pac-10 all come from the same football game, you got to call it a big-time football game. Now, Mike Patterson, he did make some big plays in that game for the USC Trojan defense, but you know what? He also got run a little bit. That Cal offense was bringing it to USC. I was just so impressed with watching Cal and the way they continued to punch USC with that run game. But SC made the plays necessary to win the game down the stretch. Great Pac-10 football.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what college football is all about. Here's a give this time to Ken Tolan. And Tolan taking people with him across midfield. Right now, a game break. We go back to the Kyocera studios. Mike Goldberg. Mike, what do you got?
Very big game in the ACC. Number 6 Virginia at number 7 Florida State. All Seminoles tonight at Doak Campbell. Lorenzo Booker with 2 touchdowns. And how about this? Top scoring offense in the ACC, held to 3 points so far, and almost the number 1 winning streak in all of college football ending. Number 21 Boise State wins in a thriller. They've won 17 straight.
All right, thanks very much, Mike. I'm surprised Virginia did not do a little better against Florida State. I thought Florida State might win the game, but I didn't think they'd hold Virginia without a touchdown.
Here you see the bubble screen being run by Stanford again. Watch McCullum. He's got to use that block a little bit better, but it would help if that blocker did not get blown up by Alex Teams. Alex Teams just takes out the blocker and really knows how to blow up that bubble screen, but the ball was there, and Stanford's got that offense working.
Incidentally, Carl Pema, best corner for Washington State, went out limping just a couple of plays ago. Short drop, Edwards, throw it for Bradford. Bradford one-on-one, steps inside, first down and more, cuts it to the outside at the 30, and is knocked out of bounds at about the 27-yard line. And that's the absence of Pema rearing its ugly head right there.
And Bradford's a tough guy to tackle in the open field. He's tall. Not the tallest receiver on the Stanford team, obviously, because they got 6'7", Evan Moore, but he's 6'2", 190 pounds. You see him get the ball in the hitch and just start putting moves on people and getting that ball upfield. Almost loses the ball. Check that out. Oh, that is frightening when you're a football player. Your whole heart jumps. But you still just got to secure the football and keep running. He found himself in the open field.
Especially after a big play. First down at the 27-yard line. Edwards straight back again. Now he's got to step up, and he does. He'll run. Got the middle of the field, down the 15, down the 10-yard line, and took a shot as he crossed the 10. And he's going to be slow to get up. Took a shot right on the shoulder.
The one guy you don't want to run into on the football field if you're the Stanford quarterback is Will Durden. And that was the guy that Edwards ran right into. I kept thinking he was going to slide. He slid before. I'm not sure what was going on in his mind to where he didn't slide on this play, and he ran right into Durden. He cringed and was ready for the hit, but Durden just put one on him, and Edwards dropped. And now it looks like his shoulder is hurt, Barry.
That is not a good thing to see. Even Durden has come off shaken a little bit.
Both these teams are physical teams, and both these defenses hit with their faces. Durden hit his head right on Edwards' shoulder. Let's look at it. Head right on the shoulder. And it may have jammed Durden's neck a little bit.
But I think it was Edwards that finished second in that collision, and he is still down and being tended to. We'll jump off the track and certainly will try to keep you appraised of what the situation with Trent Edwards is. Trent Edwards had been throwing on the sideline. He appears to be okay. For the moment, Ryan Eklund will be the quarterback for Stanford. Eklund, a senior, big guy, 6'8" and 215. Not a lot of experience. He's thrown 13 passes as a member of the Stanford Cardinal. Pitch to Lemon. Fake reverse. Lemon's going to throw and throws too tall, intended for Danahy, the tight end. So a little bit of trickery again, and Edwards is coming back into the game. Remember the first time he ran the football.
Here's what he did earlier, Barry. You see him take off. He's got a lot of open field in front of him. He sees Durden creeping and does the right thing and slides down. Now, here's what he does the second time. He sees Durden again coming off a block, and I'm not sure what he was doing. He was just kind of cringing like a child. Got to slide feet first, but now he's back in the game.
So the good news, not a serious injury. Give it to Tolan running hard inside the 5 to about the 4-yard line. Tolan gets up a pretty good head of steam, even though Lemon is the bigger of the two backs.
Oh, Tolan's been a very productive running back here for Stanford in his entire career. The last few years, he's run for yards every season. 555 yards last year, about 175 this year, and he's just a forward-running, tough running back, a good running back in the Pac-10.
Now, once again, I think here you've got to think about the fade route. You've got 5'11" Alex teams head up with more.
Right here.
And Edwards has to burn the final timeout for Stanford in this first half. And we will take a timeout as well while the Cardinal talk this over. 12:40 left in the half. Stanford 10-3 and driving. Welcome back. College Football Saturday on FSN, presented by Kyocera, the new value frontier. By Aflac. Ask about it at work. By new Castrol GTX Startup Motor Oil. And the first down line is brought to you by Overstock.com. Save up to 70% every day. It's all about the O. Stanford looking at a 3rd and goal from the 4-yard line. Tolan will be the setback. Moore to the near side, lined up with Alex Teams. Teams giving away 8 inches to Moore. And here's the fade. And Moore can't catch up to it. Well defended, I thought that time. Got some safety help.
Good defense by Teams. Wouldn't let him get out to the corner. Moore had to stop his route and just put his big arm out there right on Teams' forehead. Watch this.
Good job by Teams.
Very good defense by Teams. He knows where they're trying to go. He's got to get outside in that situation. But now Stanford can rip you again because you expect to see that fade. They can get right up underneath you with a little bit of a post route down there on the goal line.
So the field goal try of 25 yards, up and good by Scroy, and Stanford has extended its lead to 10. Cardinal lead at 13-3. 2 field goals by Scroy. We'll remind you this week, JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy hitting the road once more. They'll set up shop to broadcast America's #1 pregame show live from Foxborough, the home of the undefeated Patriots. Plus, Jimmy counts down his 10 greatest teams of all time. Ty Law goes 10 yards with Terry Bradshaw. The NFL Sunday returning tomorrow at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. Watch the defense on this last play.
Well, this fade route has worked all year, especially against USC for Stanford, because you got a guy at 6'7". All you got to do is float it up for him. Here's the one that they got against USC versus Kevin Arbet. Beautifully thrown ball, and Moore is just able to get up underneath that. You got to take away the outside. When you're playing against the fade, you know that you have safety help on the inside, so you just have to jump on the outside, especially if you're playing against a guy that tall. If you take away the outside, the receiver's got to stop his route. We saw Teams make Moore stop his route.
So here's the kick again. Now this one likely will be returned by Harrison. About the 2-yard line, looking for a gap. Now he hits the gap. Flag is down. So is Harrison at 23, but this is going to come back, I believe. Let's take a look at our Aflac trivia question. This will get you scratching your head, I think.
On the tackle, number 35.
Whack, whack, whack.
I didn't even have to ask for the
Oh,
invitation.
it's good. How are the top 4 See, I can't even read when the duck walks by. Who are the top 4 quarterbacks on the all-time Pac-10 list for career touchdown passes? 3 of them played either for the Stanford Cardinal or the Washington State Cougars. Give you a little time to think about that one. Illegal block. Stanford offensively has been very effective in this game.
185 yards so far, only 74 yards for Washington State. Stanford's got a lot of good things going offensively. Now, we talked about the defense. We raved about the defense. We talked about the attitude of the Stanford defense. But how about the attitude of that Stanford offense? Averaging 6.9 yards, almost 7 yards a play. These guys have really come to do a lot of good things here in the Palouse.
So the Cougars are going to start deep in their own territory, just across the 5-yard line. Swagger has been a little bit off early in this game. Give it straight ahead to Broom, pops it outside to 10. Good block to 15 to the 20. To the 25-yard line. It was Alan Thompson, not Broom, taking it across to the 30-yard line. That'll get you out of trouble in a hurry.
And that's another.
Thompson recognizes that there's a blitz coming from the outside, so he knows that perimeter is clear. Takes it to the outside, finds the sideline. A very nice gain for Washington State. Now they have to get Swagger back on track. You see the run again. Swagger has got to complete some passes and get his confidence going again in this game. All his passes have been high or behind people so far in this game.
Give it to Thompson again. Thompson at the right side gets to the 30-yard line. A gain of 4. Mike Silva on the stop defensively for Stanford. Stanford will rotate a lot of people, especially at the linebacker positions. They'll play 7 or 8 at the linebacker spots, and they'll rotate about 8 on the down line as well.
Well, they run a 3-4, so they got 4 linebackers in there. They want these guys to play with aggression. They want these guys to run and play fast. The best way to do that is to have guys out there with fresh legs.
Swagger out of the gun, throws underneath, a little screen for Hill. Hill breaks a tackle, gets the 35, close to a first down. Just across the 36-yard line. It'll depend on the spot. He may be a little short. Schimmelman makes the tackle. And it's close. May get a measurement here.
Now, Hill is not a big receiver, but you see him coming around, and he's tough to tackle. He comes on that little Vegas screen, that middle screen. He's not scared to go right up the field and take it at defenders. I'm really starting to like Jason Hill as a wide receiver. This is a tough kid. And again, he got his toughness last year, Barry, playing special teams for Washington State. Didn't catch a pass. This year, the guy's catching passes every time they put the ball up.
Became a man last year, too, by necessity. His father passed away last year at the end of the football season. He has brothers and sisters at home. He feels responsible for them. He takes care of them. I mean, this is a young guy with a pretty big burden on his shoulders, and he's stepping up big time.
And his teammates understand that, and so do his coaches. I had Coach Dome on my radio show this week, and he just talked about how much respect this guy garners and this entire university. Everybody knows his story and how hard he's had it. And he doesn't really complain about anything. He just steps up and does the right things for his family and for himself. He's playing great.
First down for the Cougars. Play fake. Swagger now has to step away from pressure. Now he'll run at the 40, and he slides wisely at the 45-yard line. A little bit short of the first down.
Lesson learned, though.
John Alston is limping off the field for Stanford. That would be a big loss for Stanford. Replaced by Timmy Wusu.
And Alston's a guy, they say, that he plays so fast. Sometimes he gets banged up and he comes off the field for a few plays and he gets back out there and plays hard. He was a safety last year. Now he's playing linebacker, takes a lot of hits.
Yeah, Buddy Tevens told us today, Stanford, well, they travel 64. He said 55 to 60 will play tonight. Give this time to Thompson again. Thompson busted loose into the secondary. First down and more into Stanford territory at the 44.
And Thompson getting a good shot to run the ball in this football game. He's their third string back, a junior out of National City, California. 205 pounds. He sees the hole and doesn't hesitate at all. Gets his feet up and takes a big hit from Matagwe, but gets right up. Good run.
First down at the 44-yard line of Stanford. Give it again to Thompson. Thompson breaking loose again out of the 22-yard line. And all of a sudden, the Cougs able to run against Stanford. Ed Collins, a great block, and again, getting help from that fullback position.
Jed Collins coming around as the fullback. And you know, this two-back thing is new, but here he comes across on the gap play, leads through, gets a good block against Schimmelman, and Thompson knows how to run behind it with patience. You know, Thompson's looking pretty good right now. He's their third string back, but he's making a case for himself here in the early middle of the season for Washington State.
Yeah, well, they have not been able to run the ball very well this year, and I think Bill Doba is, you know, asking somebody to stand up here. And he's got good performance so far from Tom, certainly from Thompson and also from Harrison. Lee Torrance is the injured Stanford player, and Stanford getting banged up here. Let's see what happened there.
Yeah, got hit by his own guy.
Yeah, might have gotten his bell rung. We'll take a break. 10-17 remaining to be played here in the first half. It's a 13-3 Stanford lead, but the Cougs are driving.
Coming up on the College Football Saturday Halftime Report, I'll be joined by those Hall of Famers, Kellen Winslow and Billy Ray Smith. We'll go around the Pac-10, including #1 USC victorious and some terrific top 25 tilts. That's all coming up in just a few minutes on the College Football Saturday Halftime Report. Barry Petros.
All right, thank you very much, Mike. We'll look forward to that at halftime. A lot of good games around the country today. Jerome Harrison back in at the tailback spot for the Washington State Cougars, who are running it effectively so far.
Two backs again.
Motion this time, Jordan. Give once more to Harrison. Harrison doesn't get much this time. Incidentally, that run by Alan Thompson at 22 yards a moment ago, his longest of his career. Guy didn't play last year, had shoulder surgery.
And he's just starting to get his swagger out there. And, you know, sometimes you got to stay with the hot back. Alan Thompson, now that was the longest run of career. He's tired. You got to get Harrison in there. A lot of adrenaline goes into that. Guys find themselves in the open field for the first time in their entire football careers as a junior. You can imagine how that guy's breathing or how his heart is beating right now. But he's the hot back in the game for Washington State right now, and he seems to be the best guy so far today, following that fullback, Jed Collins, into the hole.
Second down and 9. Here comes the blitz again, and a pump fake, and look out. Swagger hit just as he threw. And it was Brandon Harrison who got him that time. Troy Benneman in the ball game, incidentally, a tight end now for Washington State. He's playing less than 100%.
Swagger wanted Harrison, and he's looking at him. He wants to throw the ball, has to pump fake it, then he tries to go to Benneman over the middle and takes a shot. Stanford's running, and they always bring one linebacker because they run that 3-4. Every time you pass, they always bring one linebacker, one of those 4 guys. Problem for the offensive line is, which guy's coming?
And where's it coming from? Out of the gun on 3rd and 9. Swagger straight back. Throws to the end zone, and it's almost intercepted. Well defended that time, and Otagwe got a hand on the ball, couldn't come down with it. It'll be a long field goal try now for Washington State.
And Swagger has been known to try and force balls, and he's a little high right now, throwing the ball a little high, tries to force it in there to Bumpus. Probably good that that ball was overthrown. I don't think he was trying to throw it away or throw it out of the end zone. He was trying to hit Bumpus, but it was good that he threw it high because that ball could have been picked off by Otagwe.
This will be just about a 40-yard effort, somewhere between 39 and 40 yards for Lauren Langley. Boulder just got it down. Langley hit it pretty good, and it's no good. At the distance, a little off in his direction. So the score remains 13-3 with 9 minutes and 1 second remaining in the first half. Let's take you back to our Aflac trivia question. Whack, whack. The top 4 quarterbacks, he got much more mature, the Duck. Did you notice that? His voice dropped.
Yeah, he was prepubescent the first time he came through.
I think so. It's been that long. The all-time Pac-10 list for career touchdown passes. 3 of these guys played for either Stanford or WSU. Here they are. John Elway. That's not a surprise. Steve Stenstrom. Seemed like he played for a million years at Stanford. Carson Palmer at 72 and Jason Gesser. Give this time, running right, was Kent Tolan. That guy John Elway, even though he was never on a winning Stanford team, oddly enough, I didn't like that. I remember, I actually did this game. This was just vintage John Elway.
Where's he going?
Had a pretty good arm, didn't he? That's Kenny Marjoram, who's now on the Stanford coaching staff, who made the catch. He's the wide receiver coach at Stanford now.
The pride of Granada Hills High.
There we are.
Down there in the valley in California.
And who else went there? Here is Edwards. Edwards going to run out of bounds this time. Picked up about 6 yards, and we're going to take you back to the studio right now for a game break. Mike?
Barry, a battle of the Manning brothers' alma maters. Number 13, Tennessee at Ole Miss, 14-0 Volunteers. Junior Brandon Jacobs with the touchdown for the Rebels. They've added a field goal. Now it's 14-10. Meantime, 2 touchdown passes from Alex Smith. 5-0. Number 11, Utah leads 24-10 against North Carolina. Guys.
I'll tell you what, Utah is one of those teams. That's a very good team. It wouldn't shock you to see them in a BCS Bowl. Here's Edwards rolling right this time, and again he's going to run, and he slides this time. I think he might have learned a lesson here, Pete.
Well, Scott Davis, who is Will Durding's counterpart in the linebacking core at Washington State, a guy that almost has as many tackles, and who's been actually maybe a little bit more consistent than Durding has this year. He was looming. Edwards could have gotten down and done the right thing and tried to get a first down, but after what happened to him early in the game, I don't blame him for sliding. Fourth down, they got a punt.
So Jay Otoveggio will do the punting. He will be kicking to Michael Bumpus. Bumpus brought one back 48 yards earlier. They come after this one, don't get it. High kick, he really turns it over. Drives Bumpus all the way back to 17-yard line, juggles the ball, is hit and lost the ball, but right there to recover it for the Cougars was Don Turner. That's a big-time play by Turner. A great punt, I thought, that time by Otoveggio. We got some names on this Stanford team, and we thought maybe we'd play a little game, or we'll play a little Stanford defensive Scrabble. First word, Babatunde Oshunowo.
I'll take that one.
You got that one. All right, next one, Oshimogo Atagwe.
And then Kevin Schimmelman. Who wins?
You might get me.
Oh. Double word scores involved with Kevin Schimmelman there. I win.
Used all 11 tiles, too, and you only get 7. Here's Swagger off the play fake. Steps up. Stanford pressuring Swagger very well. Pass is caught, however, by Jordan. Nice job by Swagger, and good job by Gordon to stay in bounds. Or Jordan, rather, to stay in bounds.
Swagger on the money that time, and he needs a couple of those throws. This is a guy who's had a bad knee and a bad ankle this year, and sometimes when your legs are hurting, it's hard to get that ball out because so much of throwing the football is involved with your legs right on the money. Hits Jordan on the sideline, and first down, Cougs.
John Alston has left the Stanford lineup limping again. It's exactly what Buddy Stevens told us in place. He plays so hard, he just gets hurt. Give this time is to Broome. Broome gets this one ahead for a gain of about 7 yards. Brandon Harrison makes a stop at Cardinal.
Now there's a little bit of competition going on in that Wazoo backfield. Broome is the starter, and he saw Alan Thompson come in and rip off some big runs, put Wazoo in a position to score. They missed the field goal, but now Broome is back out there for his series, and he doesn't want his job to be taken. He takes the ball upfield with some authority. Competition is always great in any backfield.
We're going to get a timeout. The Cougs have rushed for 83 yards, and that's got to please Bill Doba. This has been a team that really is not, has been one-dimensional because they've not been able to run the football very effectively.
And it doesn't matter how simple your pass routes are and how mediocre your receivers are, not to say that Wazoo's are, but you can get a lot done offensively if you have a running game working. I mean, if you got people close to the line of scrimmage, as far as linebackers go, you can run the football and you have people worried about your run game to where they're stacking the box, you have limitless possibilities in the passing game.
First down line brought to you by Overstock.com. Save up to 70% every day. Second down, long 2. Play fake, Swagger going to throw, does, in and out of the hands of Jordan. That was going to be a tough catch by Jordan. Got his hands on it.
We talked about Swagger forcing the ball. He forced it in there on that one, and you know what? That was a good throw. Should have been caught by Jordan. He sees that small window and throws it in there past the waving hands of 2 Stanford defenders, including Schimmelman.
Third down. Call it 3, and the give this time is to Harrison. He's not going to get it. Now what do? Newberry makes sure that Harrison doesn't get it. It'll be 4th and about 2, and they will punt it away. Bosler will come on.
You got to punt in this situation if you're Doba, because let's say you don't get the first down, and none of your backs really have established any kind of rhythm. All 3 of your backs have been in and out of the game. Nobody's really going other than Thompson, and we didn't see him on that drive. It would have been a hard and tough order for him to come in there. Best thing to do is punt it away. Stanford's offense is working too well to risk missing on 4th down.
Bosler will hit this one high. Another beautiful punt. Fair catch called by Marrero, and he has to dive on it to get it. The Washington State defender, even though he did not get into that little bubble in front of the theoretic bubble, he did a good enough job to spook Marrero and have him muff the ball.
Yeah, that's Javon Miller coming, and that should have been a penalty. He just came way too close to Marrero in that situation. Here you see Marrero. He needs a little bit of room.
Oh, yeah, he actually hit him.
Javon Miller stepped right over that leg and just turned his shoulders at the last second. Inexcusable. How do you not throw a penalty? Their jersey's kind of brushed. Wonder he muffed it.
So Stanford will start at its own 11-yard line. Quick toss this time to Bradford. Bradford at the 10, at the 15-yard line. Dodges the tackle, still on his feet, inside to the 20, and that'll be close to a first down.
We see a lot of Pac-10s doing this. A lot of Pac-10 teams like to use the bubble screen on first down to get themselves 5 yards. Only thing is, when you have a guy as talented as Bradford out of LA Fremont High School, he's going to make a couple guys miss. And if he can make 1 or 2 guys miss, he's almost going to get a first down, or he's going to convert on a first down like he did on the last play. They're going to have to measure this one.
There's a look at Mark Bradford. Plays on the Stanford basketball team, too. Both starting wide receivers for Stanford on the football team. Mark Bradford and Evan Moore play on the basketball team. Bradford is a backup point guard, although I think he's going to get a few more minutes this year. And Evan Moore actually was very productive toward the end of last basketball season for Mike Montgomery's Cardinal.
These guys are 2 sports stars at Stanford, and that's got to make it tough on the receivers in spring football at Stanford for Buddy Stevens. I mean, you think you're going to get all the reps, you think you're going to be a starter, but the 2 real starters are out there running around. And, you know, the great thing about basketball is people can see your face. You know, that's why those guys are more popular on campus than the football players. The football players always have a helmet on. You can't see them. Some campuses, guys walk around and say there's somebody else and no one ever knows.
Stanford making a free play here as Tolan gets it across the 25 at the 26-yard line. He picked up 5, but I think Stanford will take the free 5. Opati Patoatua. That's what, it's a gland, isn't it?
Pituitary.
Oh, okay, I was close.
The young freshman, Patoatua, a little bit anxious. Hard count.
Offside on the defense. Several players moved to the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
So a free 5 for the Cardinal.
And you know, this is something you can do if you're Buddy Stevens and you have a quarterback in Edwards that really knows how to run that offense, and a guy who's smart and cerebral and does things the right way and has the trust of his offensive lineman, his offense. He can call 1 on 3. He can call 1 on 2. He can get a hard count going on. Sometimes, if you don't have that quarterback leadership, the count gets really screwed up.
Give this time is to Tolan. Tolan running hard across the 30 to 31. I think that'll be enough for a first down.
And what you get with Tolan is really what you see when he runs the football. He's tough, he protects the football, doesn't fumble a lot, gets that head down, and he's had a very productive career at Stanford as a backup tailback. He could back anybody up in the country because he does the right things. He's good in pass protection. He's a guy that you trust with the football, and that's a great guy to have. I'm not sure if they weren't coming out of the end zone that he would be the starting tailback.
First down at just short of the 33-yard line. Give it again to Tolan. Tolan tries the right side, doesn't get much. There to crash that play was Scott Davis. Picked up about a yard. It'll be 2nd and 9. Stanford's gone very conservative offensively here.
They have, but they've also taken the air out of this crowd, and they've taken a lot of air out of the Washington State team. But they've done this by mixing things up offensively, and they've played tough and physically on defense like they have all year.
3 wide out, slot left. Blitz comes. Edwards has to unload it right now. Very effective blitz, and Edwards took another shot. Coming up from the safety position, Jeremy Bohannon put a pretty good lick on Edwards.
Now let's watch the entire defensive line. Here you see Durding. Here you see Bohannon. They're all just going to come flying in. Offensive linemen have to make a decision. They take Durding, and you see Bohannon come free. Not a smart throw by Edwards. He should have just taken the sack.
So 3rd down and 9. Same offensive formation, slot left with McCollum in the slot. Straight back Edwards. Steps up, throws, got McCollum at midfield. And another Stanford 1st down. A nice throw that time by Trent Edwards.
A lot of poise from Edwards. You see him take a big hit. You see him make a bad throw, an ill-advised throw, almost an interception on the last blitz. And here you see him drop back, show a lot of poise, just sit down, step up, throw the ball off the front foot, and there you have a completed ball.
Edwards now 10 of 17, 114 yards on the night. And Stanford at the 47-yard line of the Washington State Cougars. They lead it by 10, 13-3. Short drop this time. Edwards to a secondary receiver, and that's McCollum again. And McCollum is hit short of the 40-yard line at about the 42. Alex Teams makes the tackle, a pickup of about 5.
Stanford has really got this offense working. Watch Bradford just run a little out and up, and then you're going to see McCollum just come right underneath and come open in the flat. And McCollum has become very productive today. He's catching a lot of these short balls and doing a lot of good things for Stanford because you got to cover more on the outside because of his height, and Bradford's such a good athlete. McCollum is a very productive 3rd receiver right now for Stanford.
And very effective tonight. 2nd down and 4. And here's a busted play again. And now Edwards going to try to get outside. He's going to get the 1st down before he steps out of bounds. That's a heads-up play by Edwards and another busted play.
Edwards, the quarterback.
This one worked out better than the last one. He missed the handoff, but Edwards' presence of mind, poise in the pocket. You just can't teach this kind of thing as a quarterback. Misses the handoff. Who knows where Tolan was going? And then he's out there pump faking when there's no pass on. He gets Christo Bruce to get his hands up in the air and takes it for a 1st down. That's tough on a defensive end. You know, you're out there, you expect the quarterback to throw the ball because it's a quarterback and he's got the ball in one hand. He pump fakes, but everybody's downfield. Wouldn't have been a penalty if he threw the ball up there.
So 1st down at the 36-yard line. And Edwards may be checking off here. Edwards short drop, pump fake, goes for Bradford and throws it away, and I think that's well thrown away.
It was because he had McChristo Bruce, who was probably a little angry by getting fooled on the last play, barreling down on him. Looked like he was going to get a clean shot on the blind side of Edwards. Edwards got rid of the ball just in time, and Bruce was able to throttle down and not make that big hit on the quarterback. Definitely would have been a penalty. Here you see Bruce coming up top, coming right down, and he sees it clear. Offensive lineman tries to cut him down. That's Cochran trying to cut him down, just left with a face full of field turf.
2nd and 10 now, and the give to Tolan. Breaks the 1st tackle, but not the tackle of Dirty. Now he does. Tolan, some strong running. Didn't get much out of it, but you get out of the grasp of Dirting, you're doing something.
And there are some backs that are just able to kind of stand there when a guy gets a hold of him and twist their body in a certain way, and you just kind of fall off them. Now, that doesn't often happen when you're talking about Will Dirting, who's a sure tackler and also a big hitter. The two are not always mutually inclusive. I mean, this guy does them both, and he was able to get away from Dirting on that one. Tolan's looking pretty good. Most of the Stanford backs looking good today.
Incidentally, Teams went out injured. Pema is already out, so Washington State with backups at both cornerback positions. 3rd down. 5-step drop. No place to go. They got the sack back at the 36-yard line. Coming that time was Dirting and Paul Stevens.
They talk about Dirting being a great blitzer. That is just somebody you don't want to see in your backfield if you're any Pac-10 quarterback. If he's back there, it means trouble. They get their heads, all those hats on the ball. You see Edwards dropping back. Dirting just kind of green dogging him, waiting. You see him behind the play and just comes in and gets in on the play. Whole thing collapsed for Stanford.
Washington State, of course, has led the Pac-10 Conference in sacks for the last 4 years. In large part due to their head coach, Bill Doba was the defensive coordinator here, of course, under Mike Price, and has always had these athletic guys. He told us, he said he goes after these tall, skinny kids who can run. They come in at about 210, 220, 230, and they leave at about 270, 280.
They grow them up here in the Palouse. These guys come in looking skinny, and sometimes they feed them and feed them and feed them, and these guys don't gain any weight. But the ones you see out there on the field are the guys that did. All of them can run, all of them can get upfield, and they're all very physical, and they play with pride. And there you see one of the most proud Cougars in the history of Cougar linebacking in Will Durning. I'm not sure that he's not the best linebacker in the Pac-10 or the West Coast. Of course, you got some pretty good guys down there at USC with Matt Grittygood, and of course UCLA, and we saw last week Spencer Havner, but Durning, a very special linebacker as well.
Oh, I think so too. In fact, I think it's a conference that's full of pretty good linebackers, much as it is pretty good quarterbacks. Mike, Kellen, Billy Ray, all the scores, all the highlights, the debate over who's going to wind up in the BCS bowl games, and that'll rage for another 6 weeks or so. That's on the halftime show. Just about a minute and 22 seconds away. Stanford will punt it from the 36-yard line. They won't try a 53-yarder. And this one is straight up and straight down, but straight down into the end zone. So Swagger will lead his team out to start at the 20-yard line. Hasn't been the best of days for him.
No, that was a pretty poor throw, a very poor decision on the pick there by Torrance. Then he's forcing the ball in there, trying to get it in very small windows. He's throwing the ball a little bit high. Swagger has not had his best performance. Let's see if Swagger can get his swagger back on this drive for the Cougars. See if they can get a little score here, maybe a field goal before the time runs out. There's your cheesy cliche for the day.
That was good. I liked it. Sorry. It took longer than I thought, though. I thought you were going to get to that early. Swagger under pressure throws, and they're going to say that's a catch. Made by Michael Bumpus. Took it right off the turf.
Bumpus started this game out doing a lot of very good things with the punt return and a big catch in the first quarter. Been a little bit quiet. Finally gets a catch here toward the end of the second quarter. At
the 25-yard line, out of the gun again. Blitz comes, then the throw for Bumpus, and again, Stanford putting just enough pressure on Swagger that he had to unload the ball a little bit quicker than he would have liked to.
Jumping around a little bit in the pocket, and the balls are off. And you know what? You got to say, a lot of it has to do with Stanford's defense. These guys rush you, they hit you. Swagger's taking a couple hits all day. They're playing a very physical football game out there, and Swagger's just off the mark in the first half.
Third down now at 5. 48 seconds remaining in the half. Swagger, deep drop this time. Now he has to roll away from pressure and throws it away. So again, can't say enough about Stanford's defense. I mean, they've got Swagger looking confused.
They do, and they're playing out here on the road. And how quiet is the crowd up here in the Palouse? I mean, this is a sold-out crowd. It's not that cold of a night. These people should be in a great mood. And the game is not out of reach for Washington State by any means. They're only down by 10, and they've had a little bit of success on offense, but there hasn't been much to cheer about since that big punt return by Bumpus early in the first quarter.
So they will have to punt it away. Bossler will come on to do the punting, and they'll look for another big one from him here. Marrero stands at about the 32-yard line. Line drive kick. This could give Marrero a chance. Marrero, stutter step, slips by the first, trying to get to the outside, and can't quite do it. Had he have gotten one step more, he might have been able to fly.
And that's a situation where Stanford had a right return on, and Marrero kind of hesitated when he got the ball because it was a line drive kick. He wanted to take it straight upfield. Zach, do you remember the last time?
I do remember.
Running out the clock. I was standing on the sideline watching this versus USC. Stanford just trying to run a zone and get out of there with the lead they had at halftime. And there he is, J.R. Lemon, 225 pounds, going 82 yards on a zone play and scaring every USC Trojan fan in the country.
Stanford going empty here. They've not done that all night. Good protection. Edwards steps up, fires, caught by Bradford and dropped.
Should have run the zone.
Alex Teams, incidentally, back in the ball game, defending that play.
And that's good defense by Teams, coming over the top of Bradford, using his arm as a club and just clubbing both those arms and getting the ball out. That's better defense by Teams than it is a drop by Bradford. Bradford will make that catch most of the time, but Teams a very physical corner.
So it'll be 2nd and 10. And now they give it to Lemon, and this time no repeat as he gets 2 to the 40. And that may be the last play of the half. Will Durding makes the tackle.
Will Durding wasn't going to let it happen again.
And I think Stanford is going to stroll to the locker room and get out of Dodge leading by 10. Remember, though, Stanford has struggled, particularly in the fourth quarter. So this game could still come down to it. It's a 10-point Stanford lead at the half, 13-3. The Cardinal over the Washington State Cougars. Let's take you right now to our game day studios and the halftime show with Mike Goldberg and the guys. Mike?
Barry Petros, entertaining to say the least. Stanford and Washington State. First half is in the books. Welcome into our college football studios here in Los Angeles alongside our Hall of Famers, Kellen Winslow and Billy Ray Smith. I'm Mike Goldberg. Let's get it rolled up here on the College Football Saturday Halftime Report. Highlights, #1 team in the nation, USC, hosting unbeaten #15 Arizona State and Andrew Walter.
It's all about Reggie Bush for USC. He does it all. The most versatile player in college football. Kick return, punt return, doesn't matter. He can score either way.
They made it look easy. UCLA at #8, Cal. Aaron Rodgers to the senior Jeff MacArthur.
260 yards passing, 4 touchdowns for Rodgers. Just another spectacular performance.
J.J. Arrington, 205 on the ground, a career high. Elsewhere in the Pacific 10 Conference, Oregon evens their record at 3-3. They jumped out to a 28-0 lead. Cruise from there. Arizona has dropped 5 straight games. They're 1-5. And Oregon State forces 7 turnovers in getting just its 3rd win over Washington since 1975. And the Huskies fall to 1-5. Back to #1 USC. They were pushed, they were prodded, they were almost beaten, and today they were dominant. I think they surprised a lot of people.
Well, I think they surprised Arizona State because they came out and they were more aggressive in their play calling, offensively, throwing the ball down the field, not waiting for anything to happen, taking it to Arizona State. And defensively, Pete Carroll, the defensive coordinator, really went after Andrew Walter at quarterback because they don't have a running game.
And no running game means you can do that. You can put that pressure on the quarterback. As a result, Andrew Walter, 182 yards passing, 2 interceptions, 0 touchdown passes. And listen to this, Arizona State, 34 yards rushing the football. You just can't do that. You cannot be successful against USC doing that.
Thus, #1 USC wins their 15th straight game. All right, it is time to crank up the computers. The first BCS poll will be revealed on Monday. Will there be any surprises for, let's say, the defending national champions, USC, Oklahoma, unbeaten Miami, or Auburn? We discuss this next on the College Football Saturday Halftime Report. Welcome back to the College Football Saturday Halftime Report. Stanford leading on the road in Pullman, 13-3 at the break. Strike up the band. Let's see if we can strike up some Washington State offense in the second half. The hometown crowd certainly hopes so. Top 25 tilts, #2 Oklahoma in Manhattan, Kansas, and this day belonged to their leaders.
Jason White, plenty of time in the pocket all day long, no pressure, able to step up and make great throws.
Adrian Peterson over 100 yards again. Arkansas at #4 Auburn. Flea flicker, senior quarterback Jason Campbell having a little bit of fun here.
Yeah, so is offensive coordinator Al Borges. The completion to Devin Automashadu. That's good for a touchdown.
It is. The Auburn Tigers are 7-0, career high 297 for Campbell today. Completed almost 90% of his passes. Game of the day. #10 Wisconsin at #5 Purdue. Senior quarterback Kyle Orton. Check this out, Kellen.
Just trying to pick up the first down. Did not. He could have slid for that. Tried to go over the top. Dropped the ball. This is something he'll remember for quite some time. But he had a great day passing the ball otherwise.
Purdue was up 17-14 at that point. Clearly a fumble. Badgers will go up by 3. 25 seconds to go. Purdue with one more shot.
A little bit outside of his range. Rushes it just a tad. Pushes it wide right. Wisconsin stays undefeated.
7-0 for the second time since 1912. #6 Virginia, #7 Florida State. BRU picked Virginia.
Well, I got to tell you, Virginia was a little cavalier tonight against Florida State. I got to tell you.
Yeah, but we shut down that #1 offense. Virginia scored in a game since 2001. .com question earlier on FoxSports.com on MSN. Will #1 USC and #2 Oklahoma meet in the BCS championship game? Earlier, a lot of votes for yes, while many have changed their minds. No, definitively, 2-1, 65%. Which brings us to some BCS debate, and let's see if they will agree with our guys. Now, with the votes now meaning so much more, Should the coaches voting, which is sealed and not delivered to anyone, now be made public? Oklahoma's Bob Stoops thinks so. What do you think, BR?
I think they have to be made public. Listen, it is imperative for the entire country to know how the sports information directors and secretaries of the head coaches around this country feel about who the best teams in college football are. These coaches don't fill out these ballots.
Yeah, because that's who does the filling out of the ballots. You know, most head football coaches, after they win or lose a game or getting ready for the next game, they're talking about their team, what they have to do. They're not really concerned about who the other 24 teams are in the country. So, yes, it should be made public.
Remember, it's 1/3 coaches, 1/3 media, and 1/3 computer now. We know one thing. There was one touchdown scored in the first half, and that was scored by the Stanford Cardinal. They lead 10-3 on the touchdown by J.R. Lemon. You're watching College Football Saturday, the Halftime Report. Welcome back to the College Football Saturday Halftime Report. Strangely, Washington State 3-0 on the road, 0-2 at home this season, and they trail 13-3 at the half. Check out a little Major League Baseball playoff action, NLCS. Carlos Beltran with a 9th-inning home run to add a little insurance for the Astros, who got 7 innings of 4-hit, 2-run pitching and 7 strikeouts from Roger Clemens. They beat the Cardinals for the first time. Series is 2-1. Meantime, in the ALCS, Game 3, Sheffield, A-Rod, Matsui, Bernie Williams, Ruben Sierra twice, Jorge Posada. They have all homered. New York Yankees are about to take a 3-0 lead over the Boston Red Sox. Next week, we feature number 1 and number 2. We begin with the Kyocera College Football Saturday kickoff show at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific, preceding number 2 Oklahoma and Kansas. Then game 2 later in the day, 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific on the kickoff show, followed by number 1 USC against Washington. We'll be back in a moment with more of the College Football Saturday Halftime Report. Welcome back to the College Football Saturday Halftime Report. Stanford looking for their 4th win of the season, looking to beat Washington State for the first time in the last 4 matchups of these 2 Pacific 10 Conference foes. Number 13 Tennessee at Ole Miss. This has been a good football game down in Oxford, a battle of the Manning boys' alma maters. How about the freshman Eric Ainge? Great catch by Brett Smith. Gives the Volunteers the lead. They now lead 21-17. All right, our game, Stanford and Washington State. You think about Stanford and you think about the fact that they had to get some help last week to lose against Notre Dame, but now they're doing the right thing. They're controlling the line of scrimmage. They're taking care of the football so far.
They're taking care of the football. They're running the football real hard. But what Washington State is doing is exactly what we said in the opening of this game.
Yeah.
They're a young ball club. They're making mistakes. They're giving Stanford opportunities. But the good thing is they're only 10 points down. You come out, you're at home, you can get an opportunity to get some momentum going, and you never know, Bill Ray. 10 points is not a big deficit to overcome.
It's got to start with the quarterback. Josh Schwager has got to get it going in the second half. Listen, 8 for 17, 98 yards passing the football and an interception. Not going to get it done, especially when you are the leader on that offensive side of the football. Josh Schwager, he's got to make a difference this half.
This is a confusing season so far for Washington State. We're waiting for the real Washington State.
Yeah,
we're waiting for the real Washington State to step forward if this is the real Washington State. Number 1 USC, number 2 Oklahoma roll today. We're going to roll you to the second half from Pullman when we return. For Kellen Winslow, Billy Ray Smith, this has been the College Football Saturday Halftime Report right here on FSN. Enjoy the second half of our Pac-10 game, everybody.
Welcome back. We prepare to start the second half. Stanford by 10, 13-3. I'm Barry. That guy right there is Petros, and we got a football game. And you know what, Pete? This is not your grandma's Stanford Cardinal. Smash mouth.
No, the story of the day so far is just like we said, that chippy, irritable, annoying Stanford defense. These guys play with a lot of anger, and they play with a big chip on their shoulder, a chip like the size of the Rock of Gibraltar. Here you see him getting after Swager. That's Alston forcing Swager into some bad decisions. He throws the interceptions there to Torrance, and then, of course, big hits all day for Swager. This guy is playing off. He could be hurt in the leg. Now, Teven showing no fear. Here was the big play of the day. That's McCullum to Bradford, and not scared to run a little double pass was Buddy Buddy Stevens, and here's the touchdown by Lemon. Stanford looking pretty good in this football game, especially considering that they are playing on the road.
Let's take a look at some of the numbers from the first half. The most important one is the score. Stanford winning just about every statistical category. They've thrown for 162. They've run for 80. That's 4 less than Washington State has. The one turnover, which did result in the only touchdown of the first half. It is still a game, however, that hangs in the balance. Stanford will get it first to start the second half. And remember, and can't emphasize this enough, Stanford has wilted a little bit in the fourth quarter. They've been ahead in every game they've played so far.
And you know what? That's just the mark of them being a young team. They're going to find a way to win football games in the fourth quarter. Is it going to be today against Washington State on the road?
McCutcheon with the return. McCutcheon to the 30, to the 32-yard line. Take a look at what Stanford did in the first half. Punted on its first series, then the field goal. Scored a touchdown off the interception. Then another field goal. And drew the horns in a little bit, a couple of punts, and the end of the half. Cardinals start at the 33-yard line. Edwards, who took his share of shots in the first half. Both these teams, we talk about Stanford being smash mouth. I think you could also make that statement about Washington State's defense. Just a touchdown in the first half and a couple of field goals. Here's Edwards going to air it out deep. He's got Moore out in front. This is a foot race, and Moore is going to take it to the house. Just like that.
Wow, it's like you wonder what happened on that to Alex Teams, who was guarding Moore and has been doing a great job all day. Evan Moore wide open, nobody anywhere near him. A lot of times quarterbacks have a hard time hitting a guy when he's that wide open. Edwards did not have a problem. A little bit of movement with the fake to Lemon, but Evan Moore out in front of everybody. You'd think it was a flea flicker how wide open Evan Moore was on that play.
Boy, and a nicely thrown ball by Edwards, who just laid it out there, let Moore run under it. And Moore ran away from some pretty quick defenders. Drive for point is up and good, and Stanford scores in 16 seconds. That's all it took. Nice ball. Look at this. Into the waiting arms of Evan Moore with the conversion. Stanford by 17, 20-3. Welcome back. Stanford scores big, 67 yards on its first offensive snap. You want to know how play fakes work? Here's an example.
Well, you're going to see the play fake from Lemon. Moore is just going to run a very simple fly, but Teams, the cornerback, is peeking into that backfield as Moore just runs right by him. Totally inexcusable. Of course, on the first play of the second half, you expect a run from Stanford. They do anything but. They get you with the play fake. Teams is a better corner than that. And Moore is a good receiver, but, I mean, you just can't be that open. You can't leave a guy like that. He's going to score every time.
Scroy drives this one in and out of the end zone. Very good kickoffs from both teams in this football game. So Washington State will have it for the first time in the second half, and a quick 7 put on the board by the Stanford Cardinal. Here's what the Cougs did in the first half. They had to give it up the first time. Field goal their second time, and then the interception, which really gave Stanford its first touchdown and the only touchdown of the first half. They missed a field goal and a couple of punts, so Stanford's defense really getting it done, setting the table for the offense.
And it's a missed field goal that really deflates your team, especially when you're playing at home.
Comes a blitz again. Swagger throws for Beneman, and Beneman makes the catch, but it's a pickup of only about 4 yards. Swagger struggled, and I think the reason he struggled is he usually had a guy in a white jersey right in his grill.
Yeah, there was a lot of people in his grill, and this is a very energetic Stanford defense. We've talked about him all night, but at the same time, Swagger's a guy that's hurting. We talked to Doba about his leg injuries, and they say his adrenaline takes over when he's out on the field, and he doesn't feel the pain in his knee or his ankle, which is hurt. But you know what? I'm not sure about today.
Give it to Broom, and Broom gets ahead for about 3, short of the first down, across the 33-yard line. Jenkins makes the stop for the Cardinal. Here's what the Cougs have done rushing the football. Not too bad. Thompson had a couple of big runs. Bruin, normally the starter, now with 20 yards on the day, and Harrison spelled him. This is Bruin again running left, and I don't think he's going to get there. He's going to be short of the first down. Oshinowo makes the stop for the Cardinal, and Cougs are going to go 3 and out to start the second half here. Not the kind of start Bill Doba would have wanted.
Starting out the second half with a whimper, and you know that play by Evan Moore probably took a lot of the air out of the Cougs offense and the defense, but
Bruin is limping off the field here, so injury to insult.
well, I'm surprised we haven't seen more of Thompson. I mean, he was their most productive back in the first half. I mean, Bruin is the starter, but Thompson with 50-plus yards in the first half. How do you not give that guy the ball?
It's Bosler, and he hit that one right on the toe of the football. Marrero's just going to let this go, and it's going to be down at the 33-yard line. It was an odd snap to begin with. It moved Bosler, and then Bosler just kind of hit the end of the ball. Here's that touchdown pass again. Stanford has it back and has the lead by 17. College Football Saturday on FSN is presented by Kyocera, the new value frontier. By Cooper Tires, proud sponsor of college football. By Honda, the company that defines performance in motorcycles, scooters, ATVs, and personal watercraft. And the first down line brought to you by Overstock.com. Give on first down to Lemon, and Lemon doesn't get much. As the Cougs string that one out, Lemon is stopped for no gain. Aaron Johnson, first man to him.
And that was the stretch play that they faked on the last series. Just one play, one touchdown by Evan Moore to start out the second half for the Stanford Cardinal. And they got it going with a fake stretch play to Lemon. Now they actually run the stretch play. No yards, but maybe a little bit of an insult to Washington State doing it on that next series.
Second down and 10. Edwards checking off here. Blitz is shown, and it comes, and Edwards floats it out here, and unable to catch up to it was McCallum. It was the right checkoff.
It was the right checkoff, and you know what? I like the way Edwards is playing in this football game. This guy has taken a couple shots today. He actually had to leave a series getting hit by Dirting right on the shoulder, where he kind of cringed and turned his arm, and Dirting hit him in the first half. We looked at that earlier, and you know what? This guy is showing a lot of poise. He's dropping back, he's checking off, he's making throws. That's a very confident throw that he made to McCallum. It just didn't work out at that point.
Third down and 10. Edwards straight back. In trouble, steps up, throws underneath, and hits the umpire. And you know what? I think that was the umpire's fault.
It was the umpire's fault. And that's a relatively wide umpire. I'm not saying anything about it, but I mean, he had a hard time getting out of the way. There's no question about that. But again, the right checkoff for Edwards. He felt a little bit of pressure. He saw his back standing about 5 yards, staring right at him, showing him the number. They're doing the right things offensively at Stanford.
I think the umpire has to recognize that that running back is in the flat.
It's part of the field.
No, that's right. No, it's the right call. Punting situation. Cougs come after it. They don't get it. Bodies falling everywhere, but they said the man was blocked in. Here's Bumpus. Bumpus had a 48-yarder before he got to the gap, and then is dropped as he gets to the 29-yard line. But not a bad return by Michael Bumpus. Let's take a look at our Pac-10 headlines of the day. Well, USC, they bedeviled ASU all right, 42-7 at the half, and they just coasted it home after that. But a big-time performance by the #1 team in the land. Cal again. J.J. Arrington, 205 yards rushing. He's going to be amongst the leaders nationally once again. And Oregon State getting back on it. 5 for 5 for Alexis Serna. Boy, don't you like to see that?
Makes you happy after what happened in the first game of the year.
Swagger going to air it out deep, and Torrance has an interception, his second of the game. And that could have easily been offensive interference too. I thought the intended receiver pulled Torrance down, to tell you the truth.
You got to do what you got to do when you know the ball is underthrown. Sometimes underthrown balls are a help to the wide receiver. In this situation, it wasn't. Torrance played it perfectly. And it's Jason Hill. They've been trying to get him the ball all night, sometimes to no avail, especially on this play. That ball goes up, and it's grossly underthrown by Swagger. Hill tries to get his hands on Torrance, but both guys are off balance, and Torrance makes an athletic play to get the football.
It'll be interesting to see if Bill Doba stays with Swagger. Against Colorado, he did bring in Brink, who's the backup. First down Stanford at the 37-yard line. Quick toss this time to Crochet. And he gets to the 43-yard line.
And Crochet is a speed guy. They like to use him. There you see Stanford getting going again on first down with that hitch play. We see so many Pac-10 teams doing it. All the innovations, or at least most of the innovations in modern football, come off the West Coast and come out of the Pac-10. And that first down hitch in replacement of the run game is one of them.
Gain of 7, it's 2nd and 3. Give this time to Lemon again. Tried to cut it back. He didn't get much. Maybe a yard.
Number 9 carried.
Braidwood, who has been in the Stanford backfield all night, and Pat Bennett make the tackle.
And there wasn't a lot that Lemon could do in that situation. He saw that Braidwood had the play blown up either way, whether or not he was going to take it outside or put his foot in the ground. And he makes the right run. He gains about a half yard in that situation. I'll tell you, Braidwood is a very physical defender for Washington State. And you know what? That's their MO with a guy like Durdig leading that defense. What else could you expect?
Third down and 3. And again, a check off from Edwards. And again, the Cougs show blitz. They back out of it this time. He floats it out for more and a flag. And that's clearly interference against Pema. He slowed his route. That's absolutely the right call.
Slowed his route, but was it a catchable ball?
Doesn't matter in college football.
Well, they're having a conference about it, Barry. The crowd here doesn't like it in the Palouse, I'll tell you that. And the ball was overthrown.
On the defense, number 15. 15 yards previous spot, automatic first down.
It's the right call, P.
But let's watch Pema here. He's at the top of your screen. That ball goes up, and he just sort of closes the distance with his hip there. All right. I mean, maybe a little bit of interference. I'll tell you what, though. I mean, you're one-on-one with Evan Moore. How do you bump on a guy that's 6'7"? Even if you're Carl Pema, the most talented cornerback that Washington State has, and a very good player, a hardened veteran, a 2-year starter here. What do? The guy's 6'7", you're up on him. They check to him. That ball goes up. You got to hit him with the hip a little.
This time Edwards rolling to his right. Now he throws back against the grain and unable to hold on. Was the tight end Smith. Had it in his hands, couldn't hang on.
And this movement game really is working for Stanford, even though Smith couldn't get his hands on the ball and hold on to the football. Watch Edwards with the command that he fakes and rolls out, and he's got 2 receivers. He's got one up top and one down below. Throws it to the right guy. Just Smith couldn't make the catch. And you know what? You expect that guy to make the catch. He's a senior leader of that offense. Should have had that ball.
So it'll be 2nd down and 10. Edwards straight back, pump fake. That was going to be a hitch and go, and obviously well defended. And now again, Edwards with a very heads-up play. Gets outside the tackle box and throws it away.
I tell you, this guy continues to impress us here, Barry. He's running the offense just as well as any other Pac-10 quarterback is running an offense this year. He's getting them in out of the huddle. He's moving well. He's running. The only mistake he's made today was when he just kind of cringed in front of Will Durdig and took that bad shot, but seems to have learned his lesson from that.
3rd down and 10 at the 41-yard line. This time Moore to the near side and Bradford to the far side. McCullum in the slot. And again, Edwards changing the play. Takes a short drop this time, throws underneath for McCullum short of the first down at the 34-yard line. So now a decision for Buddy Tevens. 51-yard field goal from here.
I say you punt it. Their defense has been playing well. They have Washington State on the ropes defensively. The defense has been very active. Just punt it and back them up. Something better will happen for Stanford if they punt the football.
That is exactly what they will do. Odovicio to do the punting. He'll try to pooch this. It's going to hit at the 8, takes a backwards bounce, will be down right at about the 8-yard line by the Cardinals, so effective. Danahy down under that ball to down it for Stanford, and the Cougars will start deep in their own territory with 9:35 left in the third quarter, trailing by 17. Cardinal by 17. The Cougs start at their own 9-yard line. College football Saturday coming back next week, a double dip. Kansas will try to pull off the upset as they play second-ranked Oklahoma. And then you and I will be in a Coliseum in Los Angeles for the #1 ranked USC Trojans against struggling Washington. It all begins with the kickoff show, 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific. Swagger straight back to pass, airing it out here for Hill. And Hill makes the catch to 45 out of bounds, the 48-yard line. That's what they're trying to do last time.
That's just what the doctor ordered for Washington State. In this crowd, the Cougs needed to get something going on this drive. These people need something to be happy about. When you're playing at home, you have to use your home to an advantage. You see Hill put a really nice move on Stanley Wilson, get by him. The ball's a little underthrown, but he's able to make the catch, haul that ball in for a big gain for the Cougs. That's exactly what they needed. They got to get this crowd behind them. They haven't been a factor at all today.
The short of midfield at the 49-yard line. Straight back, Swagger again, under pressure, throws, caught this time. Caught by Jordan for a first down at the 38-yard line.
We're seeing a little bit of life from Swagger right now. Alston's coming with pressure. He stands in there and makes a nice throw over the middle. Jordan makes the catch. Could have probably stood up and taken it for a few more yards, but Washington State will take it. They need positive yardage right now. They still have a chance in this football game, but they have to score on this possession.
Straight back, Swagger once again steps up, throws, intended for Bumpus. Nice job defensively by Wilson. Crowd wants interference.
I think we can agree this time, Barry, that was just good defense by Wilson.
Absolutely.
Leaves his feet, puts his body at risk, slaps that ball away from Bumpus at the last moment.
He did have that offhand wrapped around it.
Yeah, a little offhand. I mean, a little touch on the back. That's no big deal. To me.
Trips right this time. Swagger steps up, throws, threw it behind his intended receiver that time. Hill took a real shot for his efforts, too.
Took a shot in the ribs, and that's what happens.
No, it's not Hill, it's Harvey.
That's what happens when the ball's thrown behind you. You have to reach back, and you're running, and you leave that part of your body wide open for a defender to take a little shot, and it hurts.
3rd and 10 now.
Hurts a lot.
Yeah. This time Swagger has to roll away from pressure. Alston after him. He throws into traffic. That should be interference. In my opinion, that was interference. What do you think, Pete?
They're going to have to look at the replay.
Yeah, there it is. Another late call.
Well, here comes the flag. It might be for screaming at the official. Stanley Wilson very upset. I mean, if that's a late call, or it might be taunting, that was awful late. That was about 5 seconds after the whistle. Stevens looks just as confused as we are.
It's going against Stanford, whatever it is, going to give a first down. Unsportsmanlike conduct. You said it, Pete.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct on the defense, number 35. 15-yard penalty, previous spot, yardage results in a first down.
TJ Rushing, talking a little too much after the play. And it's never good to yell at the officials or yell back at each other about a call. Nothing's going to happen but something bad. You're never going to convince the official of anything other than the call he made in his mind right after the play happened.
Especially when there was no flag on the play. I thought that was interference, to tell you the truth.
He was hanging on his back. And then here comes Rushing. Who's he talking to?
And why? Here's a give this time to Thompson. He breaks it to the 15, down to the 10, first down. Thompson running hard.
I wonder why Alan Thompson hasn't had a lot of carries in this football game. He took him 57 yards, and the only series he got, he's back in the game. Only thing he does when he gets out there is get first downs. Otagwe eventually making the stop. Thompson, seeing it's clogged up in the middle, takes it outside, puts his foot in the ground, goes right upfield, and Atogwe trying to rip the ball out. He's got good ball security. Why not give the ball to Thompson? He's been productive.
That's with what brung you. First down at the 10-yard line. Jordan comes in motion. Swager giving it to Thompson. Again, he cuts back, got a gap to the 4. Big block up front by the center, Nick Milhauser that time.
How big does that unsportsmanlike call look right now? I mean, big mistake by Stanford, the biggest mistake they've made in this football game. And Thompson has got this offense going once again. They run a stretch play, puts his foot in the ground, takes it right upfield, puts his head down, knocks some guys over, and now you've got the Cougs inside the 5 at home.
Second down and goal, the ball at the 4-yard line. Out of the I formation again. And here's Thompson again, only this time there's nothing doing. He falls forward for a yard maybe. Jared Newberry busted that play out.
And again, we see Washington State with the 2 backs. They're still starting to feel it out. These tailbacks are getting used to running out there with the fullback. You got the freshman Jed Collins out there wearing number 44 for the Cougs. He was a big-time player in Southern California for Mission Viejo last year as a linebacker and fullback, and Doba just loves him. I mean, they like what this guy can do. He's returned kicks, he's played linebacker, and now he's playing fullback.
There's a big play right here, 3rd down and 3. They go in the offset I this time. Swager, give it to Thompson again. He's not going to get there. So now what do you do? Atogwe was right there to bust that play up. And they will go on 4th down. So here's a pivotal moment in this football game. They need 2. And Swager, remember, not your real mobile quarterback. Normally you would look for a rollout in a situation like this.
Some kind of movement, but Swager with the knee injury and the ankle injury hasn't been moving well. They still might try something like that.
Hill comes in motion, Swager straight back. Now he has to roll right, looking for some help, and he's not going to get it. He's dragged down from behind by Alston and had to unload the ball, and that's going to get this crowd a little bit itchy here.
And you can imagine Washington State has moved the ball a little bit in this football game. They have not been able to punch it in the end zone. Now, we said they might try some movement here. You have Swager, a big quarterback, who's not really that mobile, with a bad knee and ankle, being chased by Alston, the linebacker for Stanford, who runs a 4.4 and is one of the more physical football players in the Pac-10. Swager just didn't have a chance.
Boy, Alston gives Stanford a dimension that they have not had a lot in recent years. Bill Dover really down, as you see on the sideline. Stanford out of its own end zone. And Lemon didn't get much. Braidwood makes the stop. I think Braidwood having a very nice game defensively for the Cougs.
He is, and so is Will Durting. I mean, this Washington State defense now, they were not happy about the way they played last week versus Oregon, Barry. I mean, these guys were disappointed. The coaches told us that these guys were more disappointed than even the coaches were in them. They're young guys. They know they're going to make some mistakes, but they did not mean to give up 27 points in the 4th quarter, and they're not going to give up in this football game.
2nd down and 9. Edwards going to throw up his own end zone. It's picked! And the Cougs are right back in business. Picked off by Hamza Abdullah. And a costly turnover for the Cardinal. The Cougs have it right back. 1st and goal at the 3-yard line.
Ill-advised throw by Edwards, and when you're in trouble, when the crowd is doubting you, when your coach has got his head down, who do you depend on? You got to depend on the captain of your football team. Hamza Abdullah coming up with a big play, a very athletic play. It's going to be a quick drop by Edwards. They try to get Moore into flat. Moore doesn't sell the route very well, and Abdullah's able to come right up underneath. Big play.
There's a sneak this time by Swager, wedging it out, gets close to the goal line.
Captain of the team at free safety with his first career interception, and it couldn't have been at a better time and a more pivotal time in this football game for the Washington State Cougars.
So the first mistake by that man right there, who has played brilliantly tonight.
The ball is thrown a little bit behind Moore. play call on the goal line. And it's always tough for any offense coming out of that end zone, but you just have to be more precise than that. Not indicative of what Edwards has done today.
Second down and goal at the 1-yard line. Swagger lost the ball. And let's see, Stanford saying they have it. It was a bad exchange, and the Cardinal pointed that they have it. No sign from the referee yet.
I don't want to be in that pile right now.
Cougars got it. Dodging yet another bullet.
Ref really got on the pile there, didn't he? Check the ball just comes squirting out here on the bad exchange. Swagger goes down to his knees. Everybody in a panic. Washington State's offense just doesn't want to score a touchdown today.
Yeah, they have really been stymied in the red zone, and particularly inside the 10-yard line. Bill Tobin just could do nothing but not shake his head. Third down.
Gained a half a yard there.
Swagger this time, give it to Thompson, fumble again, and Stanford has this one. Well, the Cougars just cannot stand success. Brandon Harrison recovered the ball, took a real shot, did Thompson, and just lost the handle. And boy, does that quiet this crowd.
How much can you blame Alan Thompson in this situation? The second he gets the football, Stanford blitzing from the outside with pretty much everybody they had. And that ball squirts off, and you can see Thompson is upset.
Credit the Stanford defense. I mean, they have been tough on the goal line.
Look at this if you're the tailback. You just get the football, and you get blown up by Alston, who's been in the backfield all day for Stanford. I mean, he just hits him, puts a big hit on him. And Harrison comes up with a fumble.
So the Cardinal again from the 4-yard line now. They give this time to Tolan, and Tolan gets a little air out to about the 15. That should be a first down. There's the turnover story.
Number 26, the ball carrier.
See most of them just now.
Hussein Abdul, number 23 on the tackle. Gain of 11 yards and a first down.
Bill Doba's got to be talking to himself. 2 times with the ball inside the 5, and his offense can't convert.
First down at the 15-yard line. They give us to Tolan again. Tolan a little cutback, and he gets about 4.
Tolan, number 26, the ball carrier. On the tackle, number 13.
Clock ticking down, third quarter, 3:33.
The Athletics would like to thank the following sponsors for their support of Joker Bob.
Said earlier that both these teams are going to be players in the Pac-10 Conference next year. And it's not out of the question that they can be this year.
No, certainly when you look at Stanford and you look at the way they've played defensively and you see the maturation of Edwards as a quarterback, the receivers that they have, I mean, there's no reason they couldn't be the 3rd best team in the Pac-10 maybe.
Give it to Tolan again, but he doesn't get anything this time. Stopped right as he gets to the line of scrimmage by Adam Braidwood, who has really been a thorn in Stanford's side.
Flexing out after that tackle.
Let's take a look at the standings in the Pac-10 as they are right at the moment. USC, of course, having beaten California last week, beating ASU in no uncertain terms today. They're still undefeated. ASU with the loss today. California with a big win today. Then there's UCLA losing today to California. They did battle the Bears for a while, though. Oregon at 2-1. They've won a couple in a row. They've evened their record at 3-3. Straight back Edwards to throw again. He has to roll away from pressure and can't do it. Cristo Bruce right on him. And now a late flag. And I suspect that's going to go against Stanford again. Of course, any coach wants to keep his team under control, and Stanford getting a little out of control if, in fact, this is against that.
Well, there was a scuffle involving Edwards. And Petoa
going to go against Stanford. Personal foul.
Well, they're not taking any smack from anybody this year at Stanford, are they? Check out the spin move from Cristo Bruce, just abusing the offensive lineman and getting into the backfield. that outside spin, and then is able to recover and tackle Edwards. Well, a lot of guys can spin around and get in the backfield, but getting your hands on the quarterback is a whole different story.
So now Odoveggio will have to hit this from his own end zone. And Bumpus stands in midfield. And he gets it out of there, and it's going to drive Bumpus back to about the 45-yard line. Bumpus starts back midfield and goes down at about the 46-yard line, and that's where the Cougars will try it again. Their offense has been stymied, however, by a tough Stanford defense. In the red zone twice and came up empty.
First they lost it on downs. You see Alston pressuring Swagger, and Swagger's got to throw it away. Then you have the missed snap on an attempted quarterback sneak, and then the fumble. Alston once again causing a whole lot of hurt and trouble and pain in that Washington State backfield. Stanford is playing a lot of defense tonight.
Here's a give this time to Harrison. Harrison doesn't get much. Gain of 1 yard on the play. It's going to be 2nd down and 9. Quick toss this time to Jordan. And Jordan run out of bounds immediately by a Tugway. And it's always a pleasure for me to welcome. I tell you, I learn more about football from this guy than any man that's ever lived, and I think that puts me in some pretty good company, because a lot of people have. The coach, Bill Walsh, and Bill, first of all, welcome. It's great to have you.
Well, it's great to be at this game. It's exciting. A lot of spirit in the stands. It's a beautiful part of the country, and Stanford has a small lead.
Yeah, you know, I know I've got to talk to you about offense, but before I do, this Stanford defense is as tough as I've seen Stanford play defense in a long time.
They have a group of players that really hit. A lot of them will be playing in the National Football League. They're a very, very aggressive style of defense.
That's the freshman Bumpus. And he makes the grab. He's come up big in this game. But Stanford's defense in the red zone has been sensational.
It's been good, and somehow they're holding Washington State off. I don't know how, because Washington State scores. They've got an excellent offense. But a lot can happen in another quarter, as you know, Barry. So there isn't a way that 20-3 will hold up. It just won't hold up.
And Stanford has struggled a little bit in the fourth quarter, too. So that's something that, it's a young team, though. That stuff happens.
It's a young team. They're growing up, and but they do have some fine young talent. They really do.
First down for the Cougars at the 24-yard line. Swagger in trouble again, steps away from it. Now he tries to step up and can't do it. Bill, there's another example of how Stanford gets after you.
Well, they're bringing safeties and corners. They're bringing too many people for Washington State to block. So consequently, he's in trouble all the time.
Let me turn to something that's near and dear to you, and that's the quarterback position, of course. Trent Edwards has really matured as a quarterback.
Yeah, I think he's a year from now, Barry. He will be one of the, if not the top quarterback in the country. Now, I know Cal has a quarterback, USC has one, they're all over the country, but Trent has a great future in football.
Does it surprise you that there's so many good quarterbacks in the Pac-10?
Well, there are a lot of them coming out of high school now, a lot more than ever before, because all the high schools are throwing so much. So you get a good look at these high school athletes. And so everybody is going to have a very good quarterback. But Trent Edwards is a real gifted quarterback, the best possibly since Elway, since Plunkett, that kind of thing, maybe the best since then.
That's pretty high praise. Bill, stick around. We're going to take a break at the end of the third quarter here. Stanford leads it by a 20-3 score, but don't go away. There's a lot more football coming, and we get to sit here and talk a little bit of football with the coach. Bill Walsh will stay with us. We're coming back right after this. Start of the fourth quarter, Barry Tompkins, Petros Papadakis. We're joined by the coach, Bill Walsh, and there's a catch by Benjamin, the tight end. And they are going to say that ball did not hit the ground first. It is a catch at the 10-yard line. Swagger took a pretty good shot. It was a little bit slow to get up. As wide receiver Jordan also lives back to the huddle. Here's another look.
And Benjamin, really a guy that can catch the ball. Just about every ball they throw to Benjamin, he's able to pull it in. Here's the shot that Swagger took, and he's just taking a beating, especially with his leg being hurt like it is. He's taking a lot of shots, especially on his lower body. But Benjamin able to haul it in. Washington State's got something going here.
Again, first down at the 10-yard line. Give this time is to Harrison. He gets outside and gets around the corner and gets into the end zone for a touchdown. If he didn't step out, I think they're going to say touchdown. What a job by Harrison to keep his footing.
It didn't look like he was going to be able to turn that corner, but Harrison, a guy with very quick hips, quick acceleration, he just kept taking it to the sideline, kept creating more and more room for himself, and eventually he found himself in the end zone. Originally, that play was designed to go the other way. He takes it back all the way, and if you're going to take it back on a zone play, you better take it back all the way. Tiptoes on that sideline and takes it in. Big shot in the arm.
Absolutely, and once again, I'm sure in the back of the Stanford Cardinal minds, they got to be thinking, boy, fourth quarter has been our bugaboo, and here we are just 37 seconds into it. That's 7 on the board for the Cougars. It's a 20-10 ball game, Bill. All of a sudden, it's a new game.
Well, that's college football. And I really think that Stanford's going to have to score another touchdown. They can't hold on with 20 points. There's not a chance of it. And that's pretty much what we were speaking of before Washington State scored. So there's a lot of action ahead of us. I guess I can say that.
What is it about a young team in the fourth quarter and guys stepping up and having to win? How long does it take for a team to learn how to do that?
Gee, I don't know. Part of it is the coaching. Part of it's the team. Part of it's the experience. But you do need real strong leadership and some truly outstanding players to make the plays. In that particular case of that last run, Stanford had every chance to tackle the ball carrier, and he didn't do it. So as long as that starts happening, who's to say who's going to win a game? I mean, you never know.
You talk about coaching, and a great legacy of coaching, of course, at Stanford twice for you. Let's take a look, as if we can, at some of the great coaches who've come along. Maybe we'll do this after this kickoff. And here is the kickoff, and it's a line drive kick picked up by one of the up men. And it's going to be down right at about the 26-yard line. So an effective kick. While we talk about the coaching legacy at Stanford, and of course Bill Walsh not once but twice, Walter Camp, Pop Warner, Clark Shaughnessy, Jack Elway, Dennis Green, Ty Willingham. You see that name, John Ralston? And Bill, I know this is something you and I talk about all the time. But tell us some of the people that were on that staff, you being one of them, of course.
Well, it was a great staff. We didn't know it at the time. We were just a bunch of enthusiastic kids. But Mike White was on that staff, Bob Gamble, Jim Mora, any number of top guys, Dick Vermeil, were on that staff. But we didn't know any better. We didn't think we were going anywhere.
Well, you did.
And we all managed to make a living, you know. So, yeah, some great coaches.
One of the great staffs, I think, of all times has to be. Straight back goes Edwards. They're not being conservative. He airs it out. He's got a man out here. The catch is made this time and dropped. And that's something you can't do.
No, you can't do that. Now, that would have probably won the game for Stanford, that play. But the drop ball in that particular case really hurts. Because you only get that set up so many times where the weak safety isn't in the middle, and there's a lot of room down the middle of the field. And when you get it there, you can see it's wide open. And it's, I think, conceivably the defensive back knocked it out, but you've got to make those plays.
That was Crochet, who had the catch made, couldn't hang on. All it is now, 2nd and 10. And a 10-point ball game, and the crowd is back in this game. Stanford are taking the crowd out of the game. Here's a screen for Tolan, and it's busted up nicely. Big time play that time. Defensively by Pat Bennett. Just got right in the middle of the screen.
That looked like a perfect screen play. Looked perfect. The linemen were out there, the timing was great, and one man went inside the blockers and got to it. Or it was going to go for 10 or 12 yards.
Well, we were saying earlier, these are two good young football teams. Both these teams, maybe they're a year away, although I think they could both be a player this year too. But next year, look out for both these teams.
Look out for both of them.
3rd down now, 9. Listen to the crowd. Straight back Edwards, steps up, throws for Bradford, overthrows it. And the Cougs are going to get it right back.
Look out.
I think I better get back to my booth.
All right, Bill.
We can huddle up.
Run down there.
Get
Come up
in
with
a fetal position.
Hey, Bill, thanks for being with us.
guys.
Always good to see you.
Thanks so much. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it. Thanks for teaching me so much, Coach. Bill Walsh, of course, one of the greats.
Wonderful man. And a big boxing fan. Man.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he loves boxing. Love talking football. And I can't tell you how many hours we sat up just talking. Be the student. Bumpus runs up fields this to the 40-yard line. Now he's going to bounce it outside. Cuts it back. What a run by Bumpus. It's only about 3 yards, but it's a heck of a run.
If he would have came out of that, it would have been on every highlight reel tonight on every sports show in the country.
But the Cougs are right back into it. We'll jump away. 13:41 remaining to be played. Don't go anywhere. It's a 10-point game. 20-10. Stanford. Welcome back. Here's the Napa game summary. Stanford 20 straight points after they fell behind 3-0, but now the Cougars have come back with a touchdown. 67-yard catch in the first play of the second half. And look at the total yards. Very, very close and a lot of offense. Now the Cougs at the 44-yard line. Good field position. Harvey goes in motion. The give is to Harrison again. He bounces it outside midfield. And down to about the 46-yard line. And all of a sudden, the Cougars' offense started to get unhinged here.
On the tackle, number 29,
Picked up 9 on that play. First down line brought to you by Overstock.com. It's all about the O. Second and short.
2 backs.
And here's Harrison again. Stutter step through a big hole. Gets inside the 35 to the 33.
And look out for Washington State right now. They've got that run game going, and whenever they've brought in Jed Collins as their fullback, they have been successful. They run an ISO play. Harrison makes the right cut, takes it up the field, and now Washington State is starting to look like a football team that wants to win this game. Harrison sells that front side. The last second takes it on the backside. A very good run. This guy's got quick legs.
Norvell Holmes gave him a nice block to spring it. Here's Harrison again. Harrison gets it going in the right direction, picks up about 3. Alston makes the stop.
And Alston's limped off the field twice today, but he doesn't look like he's missed a step. This guy is running around and putting a hat on everybody that he can possibly hit. He's doing a fine job for this Stanford defense. You know, Barry, I got a little jealous there. You're in there with Bill Walsh. You guys are all chummy. You know, you got a second-string short yardage tailback in the booth with you, and one of the greatest minds in the history of football.
Oh, he was telling me how much he admired your career.
I'm a jealous man, Barry.
Says he has pictures of him. Here's Swagger throwing to the end zone. Hill, touchdown Cougars. 9th touchdown of the year for Hill. He beat T.J. Rushing.
He beat Rushing, and you gotta like this guy's ability. Hill, in his ability just to adjust to the football. Swagger's had a lot of balls that have just been a little bit off or a little bit behind or a little bit high, but he puts that one on the money. Hill's able to adjust and reach behind him and make a nice catch. Ball was a little underthrown, and that was bad for Rushing.
Now the try for point to make this a 3-point ball game. There's a world of time left. We get flags all over the place. Hill now 5 catches, 115 yards and a touch.
And you got to think this fourth quarter thing has become a mental problem for the Stanford Cardinal. They came out looking great in this entire football game. All of a sudden, the second the game turned to the fourth quarter.
Full start on the offense, number 55.
Here comes Washington State.
Still tried out.
So now this will be a 25-yard try for point here. Not quite the gimme that it once was. Lauren Langley, the place kicker. This is a big point, too. Flags again.
Looks like it's going to be offsides again on the Cougars. Back it up again.
It's getting serious here now. And Bill Doba saying, what are you doing out here? As we said, this is no small extra point here.
Another false start by the Cougars. They're hurting themselves.
Now it's a 30-yard try for point. And Bill Doba's going to get a replacement in.
That's got to hurt.
Charles Harris is the man being removed by the scruff of the neck, I think.
That was a long jog back to the sideline.
You bet. Now the 30-yard try for point is up and good. So Langley makes it a moot point. It's a 3-point ball game. 12 minutes, 9 seconds remaining to be played here at Martin Field in Pullman. It's 20-17, Stanford. We'll be back.
FSN, where Northwest fans come first.
College Football Saturday on FSN is presented by Kyocera, the new value frontier, by Goodyear Assurance, featuring triple tread technology, and by the one and only Dockers. Dockers Pro Style, shirts and pants that do it all. Sedarius to kick it away for the Cougars. McCutcheon and rushing deep for Stanford, and running up to take this one is McCutcheon at the 10, 15, 20. To the 25, slips a man, 30, and gets to the 35-yard line, so good field position for the Cardinal.
Now here's the touchdown. Here's what got everybody so excited in Pullman. You're going to see Hill just run a very simple fly route, but rushing loses his footing a little while he's running with him, and that's what enables Swagger to get that ball up, and Hill's ability to adjust to it and catch a ball for a touchdown. You see rushing lose his footing ever so slightly, and just a little bit of a mess up at corner, and this is what's going to happen. That's why cornerback is one of the toughest positions in college football.
You got to have the shortest memory too. Forget about it, go back out and play. Here's a give to Tolan, and Tolan running hard to the 40-yard line to pick up a 5, maybe 6 yards on the play.
And I'll tell you what, Buddy Tevens is not going to let this game slip away from his Stanford Cardinal that easily. He's been through this before with this team in the fourth quarter versus the University of Southern California, in the fourth quarter versus Notre Dame. He got his whole team together on the sideline and talked them through it at the break. And there you see Jason Hill. This guy scores a touchdown in just about every single game he plays in. That's his 9th of the year.
And his 9th in the last 16 balls he's caught. Here's a give to Tolan again. Tolan running left, first down in midfield. Look at a lot of hard running. Alex Teams makes the stop. I mean, guys who hit the hole like right now.
And this is a very important drive right now for this Stanford offense. The best way to do it is to run the football. If you want to quiet down a defense, if you want to quiet down a crowd, if you want to get control of the football game again, you got to start running the football. Stanford's had some success today doing it.
Give it to Tolan again. He bounces it outside, trying to get around Teams and can't do it. Good effort defensively by Teams. Had help from Bohannon.
Teams and Bohannon got out there in a hurry, but not before Tolan got 5 yards on first down. That's a big-time run. 5 yards on first down in the fourth quarter is like gold. Now you see him run a zone. Again, if you're going to cut back that zone play, you had better cut it all the way back, because if you try to cut it back a little too early, that hole's going to close down. Tolan was able to take it all the way outside and get a good 5 yards on first down.
Second down and 5. Tolan again at the right side, first down and more. Inside the 35, still on his feet to the 30-yard line. Again, tough yards from a tough runner.
And Teams made the tackle on that one again. He is really gashing Washington State right now with his running ability. And you know what? You need a guy to get some yards in the fourth quarter. Why not go to your senior, Kenneth Tolan? He just takes the ball on his own. This time, instead of cutting back, he keeps it front side. He sees the hole. You know, as a senior, everything starts to slow down for you a little bit out there. Sees the hole and gets a good game, first down.
Out of the I formation, Tolan again. Tolan this time didn't get much. To about the 30-yard line, picked up a couple. Braidwood hanging on for dear life.
Braidwood out of Delta, British Columbia. He's been very, very active in the backfield today for the Cougs defense. But again, Tolan going forward and still gaining positive yardage, 2 yards. Clock's still running. Stanford's still looking good on this drive.
Clock not yet, by any means, really a factor in this game. Tolan again, and this time it shuts down before Tolan can get to the line of scrimmage. And now it's going to be 3rd and long, so now all of a sudden you got a big play.
3rd and long, Stanford has got to put the ball in the air. Maybe they'll run a screen since the run game has been going so well. They're not going to get away with running any movement on this play because Washington State is going to be expecting a pass, and this is a pivotal play right now in this game for Stanford. They have to convert to protect this lead they have.
So 3rd down and 9 for the Cardinal. Single setback, Tolan. Edwards straight back. He'll step up. He's going to be dragged down short of the line of scrimmage. Busting in that time was Paul Stevens.
And getting the pressure, that entire Washington State defensive line collapsing the pocket on Edwards, and that was just a huge play for the Cougs and a huge play for the people in the stands. He had people open. Edwards had his tight end, Alex Smith, open out in the flat. He was just about to go there, but before he could turn his head and find his man, just collapsed on him.
Scroy will try a 47-yard field goal. And he's not going to get there. Well, he did. That ball absolutely looked to me like it had no chance of getting there, and somehow he got it through. A big 3 points. That's the longest of his career, and it increases Stanford's lead to 6. Watch how this looked going over there. Just kind of flat, and somehow it got there. We're coming back. So Stanford leads by 6 on the 47-yard field goal by Scroy. 8:16 remaining in the ball game. The Cougs got their offense in gear.
This has become a very evenly matched ball game all of a sudden, Barry. Both teams with 367 yards of offense, and it's going to be interesting to see here with Washington State going back offensively if they go back to that 2-back set that was successful for them.
This is going to be Harrison at about the 2-yard line. Harrison trying to get to the outside and is dragged down to the 15 and a flag.
Maybe a face mask.
Flag came in a little bit late. So we'll see. I believe it's going to go against the Cougs. Calvin Armstrong is the guy who made the tackle.
Illegal block in the back during the return on number 82. Penalties enforced half the distance to the goal. 1st down.
It's going to take it back to about the 8-yard line. Here is your Wendy's High School Heisman. Track your favorite candidates at www.wendyshighschoolheisman.com. Here are the last 2 possessions for the Cougars. So all of a sudden they found their missing offense. Now they're 92 yards away. Clock is not a factor. This is Harrison. And he's going to get to the corner. 10, 15, 20, 25-yard line. And out of bounds to 26.
And again with the 2-back set. Bill Doba likes his 2-back set. He was talking to us about it. And here comes Jed Collins coming around the outside. He's going to lead his man. You see him make a good block on Alston, and that's all Alston needed to spring him to the outside and get him a 1st down. This might be a new day. I mean, this is a revelation. This is an epiphany up here in the Palouse. 2 backs, a power run game. I've never seen it before.
Well, it's working. So
no one's seen it.
Have an idea you're going to see it again. Here's a give to Harrison again. He gets through a little gap at the 30, stumbling to the 32-yard line. A gain of 6 on 1st down. Schimmelman finally tripped him up.
Again with the 2 backs. Jed Collins, a true freshman out of Mission Viejo, California, coming right up on the isolation play, and then Harrison following him very well. Kind of wrong-armed that one, but Harrison's able to break the tackle, and it's working out well. Perhaps Stanford just didn't prepare against the two-back offense. And why would they? They're playing at Washington State.
You can see they've averaged 101 yards this year, 9th in the Pac-10, 168 today. And the Cougars are going to take a timeout here with 7:24 remaining. We'll take one as well. Look at the scoreboard. Shows the Stanford Cardinal 23, the Washington State Cougars 17. (23-17) after that symphony. You like
something
that?
About that classical music that gets me going.
A little culture. And now they got to call another timeout. And that could be costly. You have to burn 2 timeouts with 7:24 remaining in a close game.
The first one was ill-advised. Now 2 in a row.
Bill Delba, this is a guy that's been around the track, knows what he's doing.
He's had a frustrating afternoon thus far with his team, but he likes the way that power run game's going.
I don't think he likes the fact that they call back-to-back timeouts and leave themselves only one. Well, tomorrow, Fox NFL Sunday coming back, beginning with America's #1 pregame show, live from Foxborough, Mass. And the Seahawks will try to rebound from their tough loss. They take on the unbeaten Patriots in a showdown between 2 of the NFL's best. Fox NFL Sunday beginning tomorrow at noon Eastern and 9 Pacific. Buddy Tevens just trying to hang on here in the fourth quarter, and you see what the fourth quarter has been like for the Stanford Cardinal. They can't score and they give up points.
40-3.
Give it up 14 tonight. 2nd down and 4. Harrison again. And this time Harrison is corralled after a gain of about 2 to the 34-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 2.
And you keep seeing these backs from Washington State continuing to try to exploit that outside edge, that perimeter edge of the Stanford defense. And Stanford's defense is a little bit vulnerable at that spot because they crash people so hard at the snap of the ball. Those outside linebackers of Stanford just crash down, and if they don't make a play, these backs, especially a guy like Harrison who's got a lot of speed and skill, can take it outside and exploit. A big down now.
3rd down and 2 at the 34-yard line. Swagger's going to throw. Rolls out, throws, got a man. Catch made by Harvey, out of bounds at the 46-yard line. Harvey was wide open.
And Harvey had better made that catch in that situation because Swagger could have run that, even though he's got a couple bad wheels. Swagger could have gotten the 2 yards for the first down. Instead, makes the right decision, opts to throw the football, and catches Harvey right on the sideline in between the coverage.
So now the clock really, at this moment, is the ally of Washington State. They're driving the football, 6:37 remaining. Swagger going up on 1st down, throws, intercepted, right into the hands of Atagwe. Atagwe comes back and is dropped at the 40-yard line, but a huge mistake by Swagger.
Very costly mistake, a very deflating mistake in the fourth quarter. And Stanford, we talked about having guys make plays and step up in the fourth quarter in order to win football games. Guys having to do that, and this is O.J. Atagwe's time to do so. A senior, 6 foot, 205. He's a big hitter and a big impact player on this Stanford defense. Just gets those hands up right in front of Jason Hill, who was coming across the field. That's who the ball was intended for. He was able to pick that one off. Big play for the Cardinal.
Now the clock is the ally of the Stanford Cardinal. Just like that, in one play, it changed. Give to Tolan. Tolan coming back short side. Gets about 3, maybe 4. Stopped at the 44-yard line. Pretty good 1st down yardage.
Stanford's going to try to run the football again in this situation, just like they did last time after they answered a Washington State touchdown. And they have to be careful not to be too conservative. Their defense was out there for a little while. You saw Atagwe just there huffing and puffing on the sideline. You can see the breath in the late night here at the Palouse. And those guys need a little bit of a rest. You got to run the football, but you can't be too conservative if you're Stanford right now. They can't be scared to have Edwards drop back and go for a little something in the passing game.
2nd down and 6. Tolan, the lone setback. This is Tolan. Again, same play as last time, only cuts it back up the middle. He's got the first down and more, down to the 47-yard line of Washington State.
Of course, if you're getting first downs.
Right. Hamza Abdullah makes the stop. Hamza has a brother, Hussein, plays on this team, and 9 other brothers and sisters. Abbas, Hussein, Asa, Salih, Mustafa, Musa, Hajaran, Alia, Aisha, and Sabria.
Wow.
I didn't think I knew them all, did you?
I think you could read them all.
Give this to Tolan. Now Tolan trying to get outside Durden from the backside. Flag down. It's a nice job by Durden trailing that play. And a hold against Stanford. And that will back the Cardinal up. The first down line brought to you by Overstock.com. Save up to 70% every day. So it's going to be first and a whole bunch now for the Cardinal. They move this back to the 43-yard line of Stanford. And again, like as you said, Pete, can't get too conservative here.
Well, they're going to have to put the ball up now on 1st and 20. Unless Tolan rips off another 20-yard run to make me look stupid.
Just to make you look stupid. Just purely out of spite.
To spite me.
Gets the crowd involved again, and now Edwards will call a timeout. So the situation is this: 4 minutes and 51 seconds left in the game. Stanford has the football and the lead. They lead by 6, 23-17. Buddy Tevens, who really has done a great job with this team and has really made a believer out of, not only out of me, but I think out of a lot of folks in the Bay Area. He has turned this football program back in the right direction, and he's got some real talented young kids on this team.
Well, when Tyrone Willingham left a couple of years ago to Notre Dame, I mean, not saying he left a cupboard bare, but there was 11 starters on defense that were gone for Stevens. For Stevens, he took over with nobody on defense returning as a starter, so he had to kind of build this thing from the ground up. He had a lot of players that were used to being coached by Willingham. They had to adjust to his new style of coaching, and now he's really got everything in place now. He's got everybody doing the right things. He's got everybody believing in this program, and that's really the most important thing for any head coach. You got to have your players believing. They have to believe in your assistants. They have to believe in everything they say, and it's not hard to get kids that come to Stanford to believe, but you got to get them to play hard, and you got to get them out there running like their hair's on fire, and these guys are doing that right now.
I was really impressed with his assistants when we talked to him today. He's gone through, Buddy has a series of coaches, really, just trying to get to the right mix, get the right guys. Bill Chris now is his offensive coordinator. A.J. Kristoff, who you know is one of your coaches, is the defensive coordinator. Two guys, again, who have been around the track, know what they're talking about.
They know what they're talking about, and they know how to coach these guys at Stanford. It's a little bit of a different deal at Stanford.
First down and 20. And they give it to Tolan again, and he's not going to get the 20 here. Gets about 2.
Almost.
To the 44-yard line. The clock ticks down, 4:39, 4:38. Stanford will be in no hurry here.
Remember, if Washington State can't get the ball back till there's about 1 minute left on the clock, those 2 timeouts, those 2 key timeouts that they had to burn.
Back to back.
That's going to stick into the craw of Coach Doba, I guarantee you that.
So again, they will take this all the way down, I'm sure. Snap clock is at 5. Give it to Tolan again. Tolan trying to get outside and gets short of midfield about the 49-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and 13.
And another big pivotal play for Stanford's offense. They're going to have to drop back and create something, get somebody involved, maybe get the ball out to Moore or Bradford. The receivers have been pretty quiet on these last few possessions. They have to get a first down here because Washington State's going to get that ball back with some time on the clock and a crowd full of people that want to see them succeed.
Offensively, the Cougars out-offensing Stanford, 412 to 386 right at the moment. 4 seconds to get this snap off, and they do, and they're going to tuck their horns in and play it conservative and get into the field position game here. They will punt it back to the Cougars, who will have about 3 minutes, a little under 3 minutes remaining, which in college football, of course, is a world of time.
World of time, especially when you're playing at home. It seems like that clock is your ally when you're at home a lot more than it does when you're on the road and you're in the friendly confines of Martin Stadium right now with the Wazoo Cougars getting the ball with about 2:30 left. It's about, well, they'll get it and see what they can do with it. Getting pretty exciting here in the Palouse.
Yeah, it is. And they're at least going to have a whack at it. Ottavegio to do the punting. They come after it. And a twisting kick. Bumpus is just crashed, and that's going to cost Stanford. That's going to go against Stanford. They did not give him a chance to catch the ball. Marcus McCutcheon, another one of those little mental penalties, and Stanford has had 3 of those here in the second half.
And he's saying he was blocked into Bumpus, but I didn't see it like that. McCutcheon really put a hit on Bumpus before the ball got there. The ball actually hit McCutcheon in the back.
And it is going to go against Stanford, and so the Cougars will get at least reasonable field position to start things here. And you know, on the Stanford bench, there's got to be at least thoughts passing through some of these guys' minds of, oh no, not again.
Well, he wasn't blocked into him, that's for sure. You see McCutcheon getting down, coiling his body up and delivering a big blow on the freshman Bumpus. And that's inexcusable. You can't make mistakes like that in the fourth quarter. And part of the youth of this Stanford football team, and it's part of the reason they've been unsuccessful in a couple big games in the fourth quarter. Notre Dame and USC. Stanford had them both on the road.
Cougars will have it at the 29-yard line. As we said, the clock's not really a factor. Remember, it'll stop on every first down. Go out of the power I again. And they give it to Harrison on first down. And Harrison picks up about 3. Now, they don't have a lot of time to waste in a huddle here. I think they're going to have to hustle to the line of scrimmage and get plays off. Casey Carroll made the stop for the Cardinal, and they do. They go without a huddle.
They've gone back to a one-back situation. They have their flanker in the backfield, and now some confusion about who's to be on the field. Bumpus, a freshman, running out there.
Go out of the gun. 2:09 remaining. Straight back, blitz comes. Swagger with time. And a nice grab by Bumpus at the 42-yard line. Now they got to hurry to the line of scrimmage again. Clock will stop while the chains are moved. And they are right there, right at the line of scrimmage, ready to run another play.
Good thing Bumpus got out on the field for that one. Ends up running a beautiful crossing route, making an acrobatic catch. This is a good freshman for Washington State, and Washington State's got it going now. They got their first down. That's the hardest one in the 2-minute offense.
Ball just short of the 43-yard line. Out of the gun again. Swagger now has to roll away from pressure and throws downfield, throws it away. And a flag comes in late by the linesman.
And that might be on Jerome Harrison for a block, maybe a clip attempt as he was trying to block.
That's it. You got it. That's a costly penalty also.
Costly penalty and really an unnecessary penalty, because even though Harrison attempted the clip on the play, it was unsuccessful protecting Swagger. Swagger was still flushed out of it.
On the offense, number 1, 15-yard penalty, previous spot, still first down.
Well, that's a big one.
Now here's Jared Newberry. He's going to be making the rush, and you're going to see Harrison right here with the clip. Now, first of all, he needs to get inside a little bit more. Newberry gets outside of him, and then that's just wrong. You can't do it. First of all, it's dangerous because you're going to hurt somebody. Second of all, it didn't even help. Swagger had to roll out and throw that ball away, which was a good play by Swagger, but now Washington State in a tough position.
1st and 25. Stanford can just put their ears back. And they go with a 3-man rush this time. The toss underneath to Benjamin, and he makes the catch. Stopped by Alston immediately. A short gain of about 5. Now it'll be 2nd and 20. Now minute 32. Now the clock really is a factor. And again, the Cougars trying to get the right people on the field. Wasted a lot of time here. A lot of time. Now we get whistles. The clock will stop.
Timeout. Stanford University.
Stanford called a timeout here.
Kind of bailing Washington State out in that
situation. Sure were, yeah. So that does bail out the Cougars, but the clock now is not their friend. 1:22 remaining. Let's take a look at our Cooper's Tire defensive player of the game, and he is Lee Torrance. A couple of picks in this ball game.
Lee Torrance out of Atlanta, Georgia, in his 3rd year starting. Lockdown type of guy, a track guy, a sprinter out there making big plays for the Cardinal. 2 big interceptions, and athletic interceptions, except for that first one, which was right to him in the chest.
Yeah, but led to Stanford's first touchdown. Cougars now really with their backs to the wall. 1:22 left in the game.
Backs to the wall, and they haven't looked very organized right now in the 2-minute drill. Of course, they got something going. They had a little momentum with the pass to Bumpus and the first down, but then the clip by Harrison, and you just can't have penalties. It's like giving up a sack in overtime. If you give up a sack in overtime in college football, it's a done deal. And if you get penalties in the 2-minute offense, especially a costly penalty like an unsportsmanlike conduct or a clip, which is what Harrison had, I mean, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. It's very hard to succeed after something like that happens to you.
Now against Arizona, of course, they won it on the last play of the ball game after recovering a fumble. So they've been in some throat clutchers this year. Fell 1 yard short against Colorado in the same situation.
You can only live on the edge for so long.
So now it'll be 2nd down and 20. 3-man rush for the Cardinal again. Swagger steps up, throws underneath to Benjamin, coming up hard that time. A good play by Otagwe. Benjamin took his eye off the ball because he heard footsteps. There's no question about that. Now it's 3rd down.
O.J. Otagwe, a huge hitter, a guy that causes fumbles, a guy that gets interceptions, a guy that makes fumbles happen, a guy that recovers fumbles. And that's really the strength of this Stanford defense, is the guys in the secondary, the corners, the safeties, the outside linebackers. These are guys that constantly play hard and constantly play with a motor. Otagwe stepping up at the end of the game when he had to in the 4th quarter for his team, and he should. He's a senior.
Slot left out of the gun. Again, a 3-man rush. Stanford drops everybody off, and they're doing a great job. Now Swagger steps up. Look out. Down he goes. That's a coverage play by Stanford. David Bergeron makes the stop, but it's all about the coverage. And now Cougars down to their last hurrah, have just used their last timeout. It'll be 4th down and about 16. We talked earlier about the throat clutchers that Washington State has been in this year. Against Colorado, it was a winnable game. Busted play here on the last play of the game. Swagger decides, I'm going to go for it. Or rather, it was Brink, not Swagger, and he stopped at the 1 yard line. That's the way that game ended.
Time ran out, and then you see when they got on the upside versus Arizona. Gilbert Harris with the fumble. Arizona just running out the clock. Basically, they had the game won. Swagger gets the ball back, puts it up for Jason Hill, who's a touchdown machine. And they came out on the top of that one. But again, you live on the edge for that long. Something's going to happen good for you, and something's going to happen bad for you. And Bill Doba doesn't want that. He wants to dominate football games in the 4th quarter. He wants his team to play hard in the 4th quarter. And they played hard in the 4th quarter, but they just haven't played smart in the 4th quarter. They just couldn't beat Oregon last week. And this week with the clip by Harris really put them in a bad position when they had some momentum going on the last drive of the football game.
So now they're really down to one play here. They don't need a touchdown, but they absolutely have to have a 1st down, or it's over. They have no timeouts left. They can't stop the clock. So the hopes of the Cougars rest on this play. Again, a 3-man rush for Stanford. Flag is down. There's been some late flags here.
Maybe they're swollen from the cold and stuck in the pocket of the officials.
That could be it.
Prior to snap, false start on the offense, number 5. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down. Timer, please set the clock to 1 minute and 2 seconds.
Call that on Bumpus.
I can guarantee you what Washington State's going to do tomorrow in their practice.
Yeah.
They're going to work on the 2-minute offense. They're going to work a lot on it. They're going to have a nice long walkthrough and a talk-through about how to operate in the 2-minute offense, because this has been a little bit abysmal when they had a chance to win this football game.
Now it's 4th down and 20. Again, three-man rush for Stanford. Swagger steps up, airs it out, looking for Hill. He's not going to get it. And this game is going to be in the books for the Stanford Cardinal. 55 seconds left. They can just take a knee a couple of times, and Stanford will get a win on the road, run its record to 4-2, and all of a sudden become a player in the Pac-10.
We talked about all that time. I mean, we talked about all that time in the Pac-10 where there's just a couple of teams on top right now with USC and Cal. Arizona State taking a loss today. There's a lot of space. There's a lot of space and a lot of time for teams like Stanford to step up. And this was really a game between the two of these teams for who was going to be the guy to step up and really grab that stuff, that brass ring that's in the Pac-10, and something to snatch. Now, they got Oregon. That's not going to be an easy football game. They got to go down to the Rose Bowl and play UCLA. Arizona State's a good football team. Oregon State's good. There's no give me weak in the Pac-10 now.
No, and especially Oregon's got it headed in the right direction now. They've won their last two. They're 3-3. They've evened their season's mark, and they're formidable. There's no question about it. Oregon State, I think, has got itself righted also. They got a win today. I don't think that Mike Riley's team is as bad as the record might indicate they are. Our Kyocera player of the game, Trent Edwards, 202 yards passing, including a 67-yard touchdown pass. Edwards takes a knee, and that's going to be that. And the Stanford Cardinal will get a win on the road. You've talked about what a tough place this is to play, so it's a good win for the Cardinal.
Big win for the Cardinal just because of the weather, because of the crowd. They have not won on the road this football season, and they were able to make the plays necessary to win in the fourth quarter. A big step for Buddy Stevens and his Cardinal football team.
Yeah, a real confidence builder, I think, too, for this this Cardinal team. Even though they did give up a couple of fourth quarter touchdowns, they at least showed themselves that they could suck it up and win in the fourth quarter as well.
They got the victory, and any way you can get the victory, trust me, especially if you're on the road, these guys are very pleased with themselves. Now, Washington State, what's next for them? They're going to be okay, too. Both these teams are really the future of the Pac-10. You look across the board, they got a lot of very special young guys.
Yeah, I think that's true, too, and I think next year both these teams, and they're posturing for next year, I think. And what you want to do is teach a young team to win, and that's what Stanford did tonight. Washington State kind of back to the drawing board for them. That'll do it from here in the Palouse. The final score once more, 23-17. Stanford wins it. Join us next week. College football doubleheader, Kansas and Oklahoma. UNIP will be at the USC Trojans for Washington. Start with the kickoff show at 12:30 Eastern and 9:30 Pacific time. That's a wrap for us from here in Martin Stadium in Pullman, Washington. For my partner, Petros Papadakis, I'm Barry Tompkins. So long, everybody.